Ladies and gentlemen, you are very welcome to this week's Beginner's Bracket number 9. Now, we're nearly 10 weeks in on this currently, but, ladies and gentlemen, I am not alone. I have someone in my walls that will refuse to get out and just keeps me awake all night with the incandescent banging. Lobero.
Shamshir is off meta. You need to allow ST on Shamshir. Allow 2H tally on Shamshir.
And my shame, forever kept. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are very welcome. Moving swiftly along from me being wrong once. It never happened before. Honest, sweetheart, trust. Luber, are you excited for today to see what these people have for us?
I don't know, but if you heard any whispers recently, you should probably listen to them. 100%. Welcome to Beginner's Bracket number 9. The voices in your head are real, but not nearly as real as the skill we're about to see unleashed upon our eyes here.
Well,
welcome everybody, and good luck to all competitors. Let's cook.
My God, you're so professional. What the hell?
I put the ants away.
That's a little bit better. Well,
I hide the ants away.
Let's just take a quick peek at the builds real quick. Looking at this here, we do have Romanji, a newer player here. I believe they've been in Owen's Fight Clubs a fair bit. Rocking what seems to be the... Is it a Faith build? Yes, it is indeed. And we also have Lanesaw, who's going to be rocking, I think that's a Great Katana, I think? Not sure.
So allow me to interrupt these introductions. We just got a raid from fellow Frenchman, Skip to my Nash. Welcome, my friend. This is the Beginner's Bracket number 9. I'm here with Enda, and we're about to see these two gamers go at it. You can see their builds. Looks like somebody does not have Rune Arc.
Yes, I will ask that people use the Rune Arc. Let me just make sure the contestants know. Manji, Rune Arc, please. Alright, say it in French. Can you speak French, Luber?
Bien sûr. Bienvenue tout le monde. Voici le tournoi des débutants numéro 9. Je suis avec Anda le lion. Nous allons observer ces deux combattants.
Ah, pardon, monsieur, je ne parle français. Parlez anglais? No? Oui? No, Nash, thank you so much for the raid, and we are just about to get this underway. Bobero, will you give me the count in?
Je suis Luberino Boberino et je vais commenter ce tournoi. Merci à tous.
I don't know what you're saying, and I hope it's not insults, so we will soon find out. As we are getting ready to get this match underway, we are going to see the physics here from both of our players. Shamshir versus Hallstock by the looks of things here. And it does see it's off straight sword in a 120 poise. Luber, I'm gonna be real. Do you think that the off straight sword in the current poise is advisable? Or does off straight sword have very particular properties? We see that trade come through.
Well, if it's able to get a break, you might consider it to be worth it. What is the poise limit actually?
120 is the current poise limit as of right now.
Well,
I know.
Okay, so if they can get themselves to 115, then they'll be able to completely shut down the off straight sword. When listen, they do have that. That's going to be pretty huge.
Tries to go for that. Really nice Storm Assault there, just actually getting some crazy damage right off the bat, and the Frostbot to follow up. Oof. And the Halberd Stranding R1 to get that interrupt. Nice.
I see some missed opportunities there on the side of the Shamshir user. Not really fully taking advantage, I'm noticing, of the poise, of their poise and being able to tank the offhand. They do seem to understand they have to get in and apply some pressure here. I like the usages of the jumps. I feel like that's a very underrated aspect of the Shamshir.
But underrated backstab. Nice. What is going to be for breakfast, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, the spinning slash. Force back now. Back onto the power stance straight swords there is an attempted wake up. Definitely one of the plays forced back now is Roman, who's trying desperately to get that, but going for the backswing on straight sword. But this ain't no Dark Souls 3, as we see the toggle back over to Coded. Halberd into toggle. PSSS is actually getting decent
huge damage comes out. Ooh, very unfortunate rolling. Yeah, pretty much like too loose of a pressure sequence here from the halberd user, giving an opening to Shamshir. And by the way, I see you in chat, Callie. Welcome. These rules are not the standard PC rules, from what I'm gathering. These rules are altered and intentionally made a little bit more. What is it? Fewer restrictions.
Much fewer
because it's a beginning bracket. Yeah,
much fewer restrictions, and other ones.
A lot more open, kind of, emulating some of that early game, generous bands type of thing.
I just asked that.
Oh,
I just asked that Romange actually turn off all of their seamless items, please. That would be phenomenal. Just for the viewing experience, I think it makes it an awful lot better. So
yeah,
please.
No DQ for that, of course, but just
we're early on in the bracket. It's his first time, so we'll be a little bit more lenient for the first round.
Yeah, of course.
But for more experienced people, please do not use it. And welcome in. Yeah, it's a 120 poise limit faded. I just said I'd try it out. What are seamless items? The auto revive and the no goods consume. Please don't use them. Please don't. So yeah, we like seeing people perish. Yeah. We'll carry on. We'll carry on with the rest of the bracket, and might do some explaining during our break. But either way, Luber, are you prepared for round 2? Lanesaw versus Romanji. Should be off. Fantastic.
Bien sûr.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Let's get... You did the thing! You did the thing! All right. Well, either way, ladies and gentlemen, the bolt is about to be out. We are going to see the bolt out, and it's going to be a halberd again, sticking to what worked before, going for that physic there, and we are going to see Lanesaw here taking center. Positional advantage is hugely important. And Shamshirs, we do see the backstab come through. Romanji taking a tasty amount of damage into a spin slash for breakfast, but unfortunately he missed that meal. As we force back now once again as we see the power stance straight swords managing to get some tasty damage off on that. How are power stance straight swords right now? They seem in a weird spot given that they can't outtrade much, but we do see Romanji getting some really good utility out of them.
So the current situation of power stance straight swords is that although they did receive a rather substantial nerf to their damage as a part of the overall power stance damage reduction from patch 1.12, there is still some setups that are able to get that old school damage back, and the Sword of Light is absolutely one of them. If you combine the last rights with the Sword of Light, you simply get insanely high damage. But the Storm Assault comes out here and is able to cook the Shamshir aggression. See, in a situation like this, when dealing with Storm Assault, the general play, the response that you expect is to loosen up your pressure, but since our Shamshir here is just simply not abandoning it, keeping it up, sticking close to them, but the Halberd decided to challenge that with a Storm Assault and
into the Blink Bolt
finish. Very rare. Wasn't expecting that. Honestly, not the kind of response you would expect. It's a quite risky move to push yourself forward, even if Blink Bolt has iframes. You'd have to be very confident in your ability to finish off this fight right there. Very confident in the... you have to trust your Blink Bolt a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do
to be
find,
this will kill for sure.
I do find Blink Bolt being used as a finisher, especially with that really nice recovery cancel on the standing R1, is really, really nice to just close that gap, get a nice little bit of damage right off the bolt, and then you come in and you actually do the decent damage. It's actually kind of nice. You do damage, you get that nice bit of pressure, but you can't really do much out of it unless you have a weapon that has a decent recovery cancel out of it, or you can Q or running out of it. So it's kind of curious. I've seen people rock fists, I've seen people rock Shamshir. I haven't seen what other cooks people have come up with the Blink Bolt finishers, low barrel, bow barrel.
I'm actually cooking some in my little head right now.
Just to answer the question, what arena is this? It's a dueling square, Romanji. Dueling square. But yeah, again, the overall idea that I've seen from Blink Bolt is it's a really nice finisher. I haven't seen much utility. I know Foolish, who hopefully will be rocking it later, is an interesting cook with the Smith Script backhand blade, which is a really, really nasty one, but it is very vulnerable to things that can actually go for the mash. So I'll be super curious to see that later in the bracket.
Blink Bolt's weakness is just the fact that you frankly can't do much out of it aside from attack. So the only way you really are cooking is if you have if you have multiple attack options. So one theory, one kind of like not theory, but one setup I kind of thought about potentially working best with Blink Bolt as a like genuine piece of utility from neutral as like a part of their core game plan is something that would have not only multiple attack options but also hyper armor right off the bat. So it would be a dex build with off Rakshasa main hand like
He's actually landing it. That's crazy. Actually, not once but twice he managed to land
Horned
it.
Warrior Sword.
That's
on the back because of the insane pressure of Pata, but
yeah, and he's going to be able to try and find that nice bit of pressure then. That swap over to the Halberd once again to try and get those hits. And he's actually managing to get some really nice pressure as the Stormcaller comes out. Interesting plays here coming out from these. These are some cool cooks. However, those Patas, as I expected, are doing an insane amount of work right now. They're just able to keep up that amount of pressure. No, the insane amount of pressure. Go on.
Yeah, saying like, yeah, Lane Saw is doing the adapting in the correct way here, which is to loosen up their pressure, anticipating hyper armor.
Oh, that parry was
that
risky.
Parry honestly it was a reasonable parry attempt. It really was.
It was close as well, but a very, very nice call out there on the side of Lane Saw. They're actually managing to get that kill. Very, very nicely done, and actually I really like the read that came out there. I wonder if he was expecting to some form of counter pressure, so was holding off in the press and then went around to go for it. Let me just check something real quick. No, sorry, we're just getting some scores here are messed up. And that is that, ladies and gentlemen. 3-0 in favor of Lane Saw right off the bat. Sorry, doing the admin shenanigans as I am forced to do here as we let's start the tournament. Let's mark that score. And then we move on to the next round, which is, of course, going to be Darcy versus Heavenly. Both of these players have been in both of these tournaments so far. Darcy's, of course, having started and has made huge improvements. Heavenly actually coming second in the last one. So congratulations, of course. I'm Yipu. Good night. Good night in the afternoon. But yeah, Darcy's is one of those players who's slowly but surely getting very, very good very, very quickly. And Heavenly One having come second in the last round robin tourney, of course. No spring chicken in these brackets either, rocking, I believe, Great Katana and PSGS. Of course, PSGS got very, very badly nerfed in the last round, which is an unfortunate bestie moment for all the mains out there. But it's definitely... How do you find the PSGS at the moment as we wait for our players to get in?
Well, you see.
Uh-oh.
Like you would say... on the cursed VCs or PlayStation. They're so bad.
Oh, for sure.
To pronounce it more professionally. PSGS received a substantial nerf. I believe that the actual nerf they got was close to perfect. They received a nerf on their direct reward, without nerfing the actual functionality of the Vortex, which I think was a move in the correct direction. But then they also decreased the tracking, which makes it worse in neutral to catch. And they also added a bunch of things that power creep the hell out of the base game. So, mixed bag, like most of the patches tend to be. But overall, I think like their tweak was like a step in the correct direction.
Yeah, the PS, for sure. It's definitely evened out an awful lot of it, because I feel the PSGS especially... This is maybe a personal take. It punched down very, very hard. Anything that was like worse than it seemed to do a very good. You could whiff punish, you could vortex, right. An awful lot of options, but it just struggled. Like the reason we didn't see it so often is number one, it's very difficult to use, and number two, it just wasn't able to come. Like roll in from TS was just terrifying. Without Flaming Strike, it didn't have many options. And on top of a huge number of other issues, it's slow, it can be whiff punished itself, given that you had to restrict the higher damage or the longer ones because of how obscene those things could get. But yeah, that's... That's just how it be. But yeah, we have both of our contestants in. Looking at the builds here, it is going to be Dex versus Strength, and a match up as old as time. And it does seem as though it is going to be the Great Katana versus, I think that's a Shamshir, if I'm unmistaken. It displays automatically foolish.
I'm gonna have to talk about this matchup because I played like hours of this with Steel. Like
you are going to have to fill me in on some of the details here. We've only seen I've only seen it very briefly.
This is fun.
All right, while we're waiting for the bolt to get in and our players to get their flasks and all that shenanigans, give me the TLDR on this one.
So the TLDR is that, so actually the Great Katana sits at a very interesting spot because it overall would say it is outclassed by like the top of the meta, but it can absolutely set itself up with win cons. Although I will say here, the fact that this is Rakshasa changes a couple of things because it loses access to Flaming Strike. And without Flaming Strike, you kind of have like a lot of the edge you have against like the higher tier stuff, you kind of lose. Because basically, Great Katana is just like solid overall, but its strengths work uniquely well with Flaming Strike.
Yes.
Which allows it to actually compete with stuff at the top. Here we have Shamshir against Rakshasa, so Shamshir has to be a bit more mindful of its approach, and then Rakshasa can go for Hyper Armor, but you mostly have to take advantage of the Hyper Armor on the backswing. Pretty much like right now, the Great Cat user can kind of take some space in, and you see that how confidently they just swung that second R1 here. That's the knowledge, that's the safety you have when you have Hyper Armor on.
And I find that second swing there was something that's Heaven is showing quite nicely all the way throughout this so far, is that second R1 comes out super quick. You have to respect it, and Darcy's trying to get the spacing right, but unfortunately it's just been hit. But we see that there, the jump comes up, tries to go for that jump R2 to interrupt the Hyper Armor, but just not quite able to get those interrupts, Looper. Is it just the spacing? Is it the positioning here of Heaven, or is it... And tries to go for that punish again. Forced back in now. Once again, the backswing comes through, but it's still just going to land a little bit short, as we are going to see Darcy
What's
here
happening is
dance in and out.
So Darcy is our Sham user, yes?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so thing is, Darcy is missing here, I feel, is the lack of backswing setups, but it can be a little difficult. It's hard to like confidently perfectly space an attack when the attack itself is so long, and you may not, you're a little worried about the phantom range maybe catching you. That's definitely something that I would worry about as well.
I will say that was a very nice roll there on the side of Darcy.
That
good
was really
punish
good.
in the stand-in there as well. Those standing R1s are good, but they're just so slow. You're able to get two swings out and be out and away. But that spacing comes through here on the side of Darcy.
Here. Darcy absolutely kind of locking in right now. I'm noticing they have a hand axe for backup that they are not using. I think that is overall a reasonable choice to make, since Shamshir has everything you need to win this matchup.
We might be seeing some swaps here. I know that Darcy is a Halberd off-axe one trick before it was cool. Very hipster of them, I think, honestly, that they were rocking at last patch. A brave move, but it may be trying to go in for those swaps and that punish there, as we are going to see Heaven put back.
In the corner, that's a backswing setup. Very unfortunate situation.
And down he goes, killed with extreme skill and precision. Very nicely
Tough
done.
spot to be in, for sure. In that situation, what I would maybe go for is actually a surprise Rakshasa L1. Like, hey, you think I messed up? You think I'm on the back foot? I have Hyper Armor. Take that. But even still, it'd be a pretty tough situation. You could have maybe also have set up a Flame Strike after that, too, because Rakshasa is actually looking like probably the best one-handed Hyper Armor option at the moment, which is kind of crazy that Dex ends up being the one to have that and not Strength.
Yeah. Well, again, keep in mind as well, in this rule set in particular, I've done a flat ban on two-handed tally, just because I don't think it flipped enough matchups to really justify having it used over. So I did want to give it a rattle just to see how that would go. And even then, we do see that Rakshasa is still doing an insane amount of damage. And
Rakshasa always does good damage at Shamshir as well. I mean, it's just extremely solid.
But either way, we have both of our contestants in and ready to go. Low barrel, bow barrel. It's time to see if we see a lock in here on the side of Heaven, or if Darcy's going to have backswing her way into the next round, as we are going to see the physics from that last round here on the side of Heaven. What changes should we expect to see as we see that trade come out?
I would say, well, one of the strengths of the Rakshasa, which allows it to maintain its ground a lot, is the range. I feel like And also blending the attacks. I'm noticing very like not much blending from Heaven. That doesn't mean the attacks aren't like respectable without. It just means like you wanna make the opponent have to second guess.
Good roll stuff
But
coming out here on the
question their
side of
timing,
Heaven.
question their positioning as much as you can.
Yeah, and we see that they're just immediately back in there, off that whiff, straight into the running attack, not giving Heaven an opportunity to set up for those shenanigans, trying to push him into the corner, but also having to give deference just on account of that hyper armor. But a good roll comes out as we see the running attack just about forcing the roll out there on the side of Heaven. Good roll discipline here coming out from both as we see Darcy here, keeping up that very dominant position, however, having to give it up, just having to be constantly worried about those strafes. But the Rakshasa, say that fast.
Jump here to take up space, but then the unfortunate running R2, honestly, like one of the more surprisingly disappointing moves of the Great Cat moveset. Great range, but simply too much recovery.
And there's those jump R2s coming in to try and get that interrupt. Nicely done. As we see that nice bit of pressure coming as well. Yeah, it just cleaves through it. No hyper armors there, as Darcy's just showing, like, meta is meta no matter what way you put it. And Great Cat might be pretty great, but it's far from the best right now as that Flaming Strike comes out.
I love the Flaming Strike there for keep out. Smart move.
Yeah, it's very, very good. It keeps up that pressure.
Great corner escape there, but unfortunately you get right back in the corner after eating a jumping R2 and a Flaming Strike, but they're still in the match. It's not over. Looks like a swap 2 Pata, honestly pretty reasonable pick here. With the Swallowing Cloth, demonic.
Demonic in nature, but is he gonna
just like we do on PlayStation? Could Darcy be an heir of the station?
I think so. With that Flaming Strike keep out, this is how we do it. This is how we win our matches.
What, bashing your forehead against the L2 button? Real and true? No.
Absolutely. We keep headbutting this like it's 2009 Demon Souls. Anyway, that was a very interesting match. I mean, you could really see the absolute strength of Flaming Strike as a keep-out tool for Shamshir, and also why the PSN board actually banned it on Shamshir. The moment the hyper armor was no longer something they had to think about actively on a running attack, right?
Yeah.
Flaming Strike came out. Flaming Strike keep-out. Very hard to deal with.
Well, I mean, you always run the risk of that hitbox because it lingers, even though it has been nerfed considerably since launch. 100%. It still has an awful lot of like linger, and you know, you run through the fire and the flames. Sometimes you're going to get burnt, but we are going to see the Patas committing to the Patas here on the side of Heaven, and Darcy sticking to that.
Choice, yeah. I'm also noticing. Sorry.
No. Go.
I'm also noticing like the already the Heaven adapting by implementing knives to their game plan. Pretty much the only real like true punish to a like random Flaming Strike. You just eat some knives.
Yeah, and it definitely
also a complete swap here. The halberd.
Commander
Flaming Strike less
well.
halberd.
Yeah, but you still do have that the backup in the terms of the off axe there, which of course that backswing is absolutely lethal. We're seeing an awful lot of backswing setups here on the side of Darcy's. I know quite recently I did some scrims with them, and they were complaining about not being able to keep prio, and having an off axe is definitely one way to keep prio, especially given that they have to respect that follow-up R1 for the rolls. But we do see the swap back over here, tries to go for the run, R2 is going to be interrupted.
Very unfortunate interaction here. Darcy with the aggression getting just barely interrupted by the Frostbite and eating a ton of damage. That appears to be their tier that ran out. And Frostbite still active. I guess Spotted, that's absolutely terrifying. And the whiff, the R2 comes out for a absolutely disgusting trade here. This, after you land the running R1 with Pata, there's pretty much two options. You either go for an R1 to immediately hit them with damage that they can't react to, or you check a mash that hits them from them using the R2, and this is what Heaven chose to do for massive damage on a thrust counter that Darcy was probably not very happy to get hit by. Flaming Strike comes out. More keep out here on the side of Darcy. I mean, this is honestly the correct response, but it's going to be very difficult to bring this back without a massive turn.
Oh, nice
the range,
crouch or rolling R1.
Is able to escape.
I would worry for Darcy's here, given that those running R1s on Patas, even if you do get the interrupt, may end up actually trading with how far those hitboxes go out on a Flaming Strike keep
this
out.
Is why it's so scary.
Absolutely nasty stuff, and we're seeing very patient play here from Darcy's here. She realizes she's about one trade left in her, and that's pretty much it. That swap over, are we not actually seeing a swap over to Blue Feather? Maybe been afraid of being caught out in menus here, as we are going to see Heaven stuck up in the corner, managing to just about get off from that wall cancel half axe. Neither of them necessarily wants to be hit, but unfortunately, that is going to be a 2-1. Still in Darcy's favour, but Heaven might be able to get that reverse sweep here with that really, really nice pata play, Lobero Bobero.
I think Heaven chose the safe path out of this match, which is to, I have my physic, I have an advantage. That doesn't mean rush in and finish as quickly as possible. That means I actually have leeway. Mm-hmm. And play for that.
I think an awful lot of people, myself included, you're in bracket, you see the other person low, and you just see red, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to get him, but you forget that you have Blue Feather, and given that Heaven had so much HP to work through, and given, kudos, hats off to Darcy's there all the way through that. She did an absolutely excellent job of actually managing to get those bits of counter pressure in fairly consistently, so... she was very well on the urge. She was a flaming strike and a bit away there for completely evening that fight out. But, is that what I think it is? Funny 4-shot HTS?
Close enough. Welcome back, Marco Vesso. We are seeing HTS in a tournament.
Man, she might pull out a Claymore next. Just to be super spicy in this one, as we do see the physics are out. Alright, this thing has gotten far in a couple of my tournaments so far, in a couple of these weeklies, Luber. What's the lowdown on this thing, brother? Ooh, nice bit of damage right off the bat.
The worse your net, the stronger. So the fact that this is seamless, I'm actually not feeling too hyped about it. I think it's gonna have the full potential.
Oh, but we are gonna see some really nice damage.
The damage, while still high, like that's already Blue Feather range on PlayStation. So honestly, it's just not the same kind of beast. But I do have faith in it. There's still a lot of damage and a running R2 landing. I was not expecting that.
On the Flaming Strike,
Flaming Strike still comes out.
Yeah, that Flaming Strike is coming in clutch all the way through here. It's just such a useful tool. It can be used defensively, aggressively. It gives you so many options. It's kind of hard. Anything that doesn't have access to it, I feel, just suffers as a result. But good jump overs, tries to go for that. But that R2
I was gonna say,
out.
If Heaven is able to find a really nice way in, they can absolutely close this out very quickly, dealing tons of burst. But it seems like they're choosing to play still very safely, not trying to rush anything. Even though I think that immediately trying to interrupt the HTS before the jumps might be something they could take advantage of, but let's see what they're actually thinking about.
Oh, that R2, that true combo! And
they're very well aware that the explosive nature of how you actually deal your damage with Pata does not require you to rush in. But picking their interactions, really picking when they choose to engage, when they kind of feel like they have the pace of the match in their hands right here. The HTS has to kind of respond to what's happening. Initiating is that'd be a little bit more troublesome.
Tragic. That jump R1, just the tracking so poor on that not able to land it in the anti-air comes through.
The hitbox completely interrupting the jump in, and you see another swap going now for the Grave Scythe. Ooh.
That Frostpot's going to be nasty.
That is terrifying. And also, I'm not seeing any Blue Feather right now equipped by Darcy. One nasty hit could be it. You have no way to buff yourself.
All she has to do is guess wrong.
HP. Not 2 HP. 9, 10 HP left. One single hit will take them out of this round. Going back for the Shamshir swap here. It's going to be very tough to bring this back. I think even a trade can't save them, and unfortunately they try to not roll attack, but wait and delay to get the R1, which is the move you would need, but unfortunately a little bit too late. Ends up being interrupted by the Pata R2 for death here. Now we are at match point. This is 2-2.
2-2. The first one of the tournament so far. Heaven striking back. The vengeance of Heaven knows no bounds here. And though the patas are kind of interesting, I've kind of allowed all of the strong setups to have their time in the sun, especially given that my primary concern for this bracket was mostly trying to make sure that BHB and BHB was kind of brought more in line. Oh, I'm stupid. Ignore me. Ignore that. Oopsies. That BHB was brought in. That BHB was brought more in line with the rest of the stuff. That was more or less the idea, and it seems to have been. We haven't seen the currently legal BHBs be used yet in either this tournament or the last one. So I think we've done a good job, and we'll start looking at the other setups and ways to kind of bring them closer to the rest of the game at a later date. That is
BHB is certainly something that remains strong without the broken ashes of the work. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah, it's just anyway, I think goofy, silly, haha, and there goes the bolt.
Now, as I anticipated, Darcy choosing to stick to their winning weapon so far, the Shamshir from the start. Shamshir against Pata, very interesting matchup. I'd say your best bets here, with the way I would personally approach the matchup with Shammy, is my keep out is instantly weaker because unlike with Qatar's, well, now I'm the one being outranged.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice swap!
Wait, another swap. CGS, I guess they're opting for Hyper Armor as their answer to the oppressiveness of Pata. Very interesting. They can certainly outtrade them with a weapon like this. This curved greatsword hurts a ton.
Yeah, and we're seeing there the downsides of the setup, especially in bracket. Just the ability to reaction roll something just immediately. It doesn't have anything that's unreactable. You have to play off of those lat and those mix-up games once you do manage to land a hit. But unfortunately, nothing actually manages to be hit there. But again, punished. Very nicely done there from Darcy's actually managing to catch Heaven with his trousers down in that situation. Ouch.
Ooh. See an armor swap here on the side of Heaven.
Maybe electing to go for something a bit different, go for extra bit of damage, but we see that he actually manages to get the hit in and roll out in between the swing there from the CGS.
Power claws, power fist weapons, low recovery.
Well, you can't hit what you can't catch, and we see Darcy's here doing a good job of trying to bait out something where she can actually manage to land those hits. The run R2 comes out there on the side of Heaven, but
Darcy's determined sticking to the CGS, but struggling to find those trades. Actually seems to have landed more raw hits than actual trades, which is surprising. But so far, in terms of health, both competitors are about even.
Oh, nice crouch R1.
See, they're no longer going for that backswing. They've adapted. They noticed that Pata is able to get in and get out fast enough, so they're just instead choosing to find another interaction, and the delay gets punished. Really falling for the strength of the CGS here, but we've seen Heaven in similar situations understand to kind of like lay back, play a little more passively. Now, after losing their tier, I think that's exactly what we're about to see. But who knows? Maybe they want to surprise Darcy with bursts of aggression and hyper aggressive play.
Yeah, I mean, a nice burst of aggression there just to really try and put her away, but she's still an awful lot of HP in order to try and get through. Good patience there on the side of Heaven, an attempted dead angle on the side of Darcy there just to get that surprise hit off, but Heaven just knows that he can't trade with it, tries to go for it there in the...
Very unfortunate! I don't think that was a true punish, but they're just hitting each other. Oh my god, there's blood!
Oh, there is blood in Darcy's takes!
They're just throwing hands! They're just hitting each other left and right. We don't even have time to commentate. We just got outplayed by this CGS. That's going to be a GG 3-2 from Darcy. A very nice bit of a comeback here. Stopping to CGS, understanding that the Hyper Armor, seeing the vision, seeing the Hyper Armor, believing in the CGS like Frosty once did, and getting that dub.
Think of the mix potential, dude. Of the CGS, bro. Dude. I think it'd go super well with the whip, dude. Super good with the whip, dude. Fuck's sake.
We love you, Frosty.
We do love you. We're just making sure you know, dude. Oh no, fuck! Now I'm saying, dude. No. But yes, definitely some really nice plays coming out there from Darcy. Good patience, really. Really good. Just changing up the timings, playing the setup exactly how you have to play it, especially when you're coming from behind. Like, that is more or less how you have to play a setup like CGS in general. You have to play off of I have to mix up my timings, have to look for those opportunities to try and get the damage in, and I have to play with my opponent's patterns, play off of, you kind of said it yourself, you have to react to what your opponent's doing, but you can do that proactively as well, which is kind of in a very strange way once you've felt them out as a player. Like, if you're forced in bracket to use something like a CGS, or God forbid you have to use a greatsword and try and ape Marco for a bit, like, what is your overall game plan? Bobero. Here's my expert analyst.
If I were to use, well, I guess specifically, well, you have to understand that, okay, they can react to everything you do, but also you can take space because you have hype armor and high damage. So it'd probably be something like this. I feel like, well, the actual optimal game plan, if I were to use like exactly what Darcy used, is I would have played very aggressively, not super aggressively, like threatening my hype armor as much as possible, and then while they're in like a spot close to the wall or something where they must anticipate an attack from me, since they can't simply outspace it, they have to just like look for an attack that's coming. I'd be like, okay, I know you're looking for an attack. Instead of doing running attack, I'm just gonna run at you, flaming strike, catch you with delay, and deal 10 million damage. That's the game plan. That's how you probably play the CGS in this environment. Darcy didn't really seem to do this. They just played a solid CGS game. They went for like safe attacks. They understood the one time they made the mistake of going for backswing to catch running attack, except the running hit and got away and rolled them. And after this, they actually didn't make that same mistake. They did not go for the backswing, and they just only went for very safe attacks, and Heaven just kind of folded under the pressure eventually and just got roll caught by a couple of things. Hit in the menus, hit raw from neutral, roll caught. Yeah. And that was effectively it. That was there you go.
Yeah, it was very solid.
It was less Darcy doing like specific conditioning, like finding the absolute optimal win condition, and more just playing safe, playing solid until their opponent folded, which is a perfectly valid way to play because it's in tournament, right? Tournament, if it works, it works. Like,
yeah, for sure. I do think that there are some underrated aspects to hyper armor setups in general. I mean, specifically the slow ones. Stone Club, I'm not going to say anything about that. But just the ability to be able to force that, to have to find a way to force that conditioning and stuff, I think is a really interesting playstyle that hasn't been very well developed. And it is hard countered by the other person just never pressing, which I find to be quite a kind of a painful thing that that's not encouraged all that often.
Unless you get them cornered and have Flaming Strike on you. Like, that's why I say, like, if you're seriously, like, in a, ladder, small arena tournament, pulling up with hyper armor, you need Flaming Strike. If you don't have Flaming Strike, you're missing a fundamental aspect of your game plan. And while you mentioned the Stone Club, what makes the Stone Club so good is that it has the ability to run this exact game plan, but it's also fast and recovers fast. And also you can put like rot on it. Like, okay, a bit of a vent. I had to fight Omega Rot Stone Club on a tournament, okay? Like that and
I'm
it's
not
on
sure
my
if you want
YouTube.
to.
I have the full, like, I have all my matches against them, like, uploaded on YouTube, and, like, honestly, these were interesting matches. It went to show, like, the strength of the club, but also, like, how to counter them. I used Spinning / Shamshir, which, by the way, would not have worked if he had 133 poise, which was, of course, not allowed. You couldn't have max poise in that tournament.
Well, we'll just pause that thought real quick, as we do have both of our contestants in.
Absolutely.
I will pick your brains on that later on, though, Luber, because we do have Foolish, who's rocking probably one of the most interesting setups I've seen, especially with the BHB, and, of course, A2, who seems to be rocking the new thrusting sword with all the magic shenanigans, although I'm not sure, actually. Uh-oh. She's on the Smith script.
Uh-oh, is that a wrong start to Rooney?
We seem to have, do we have a false start?
No.
Do we have a false start? We might have just had a false start there. Yeah, just get reset there, folks. I'm not sure what Foolish is doing.
Reset, meow!
Right this instant. Alright. Nyanstant? Meowstance? I don't even know. All right, let's see. Are we rune-arced? You should be rune-arced.
Go.
All right, but either way, we are going to see both of our contestants go for their shenanigans. Foolish, of course, is going to be on this setup, which I find to be quite cool, as we are going to see the Tooth Whip come out, managing to get a nice interrupt there. Force back now once again. We are going to see Foolish managing to get that Smith script shenanigans here. But that new TS is coming out clutch here, trying to get that nice bit of pressure. Force back in. We are going to see Poison here on A2, who's going to be forced into the corner here. Foolish has some very interesting stuff here. We might see it now in a minute, but we are going to see that spear come out, manage to get some damage. Oh, but the roll catch there and channeling his inner Frosty here with the whip, dude. Even though we could see some... Uh-oh. There it is. There it is. The Cirque comes through.
My only take of this fight is jumps. They're a mechanic.
Yes.
They're the mechanic. And it is one of the biggest weaknesses of the Great Lance. So
Yes.
to be a Great Lance player, to fight against somebody that clearly has jumps as a very big part of how they play and how they approach a fight, and most importantly, how they defend. Because some setups you can use jumps very aggressively, but basically every single setup, except halberd setups, Lamau, can use jumps very as a key part of their defense as well, which is why that's honestly one thing I genuinely no irony, I love about Elden Ring compared to the previous Souls games, is that the implementation of the crouch and jump, I feel were honestly, I would say the most interesting and best combat addition to the game.
Unfortunately, we don't. A2 hasn't rune-arced and it's just getting put in a little bit of a one-man blender.
Oh, I see
here.
it right there.
Oh, but the thrusting sword does come out, and the good rollout there comes out on the side of A2, who's just trying to find her space.
That looks like deadly poison at this rate, and it doesn't matter. No matter how much damage you do, the poison is simply going to overpower the reward from A2. That's another thing I was going to say, even without the whole rune arc issue here, a flaw of A2 setup is they don't seem to have a high reward option that they can actually play around. They have options, but they're relatively low damage. That TS is pretty low damage. To get the stat requirements for that spear, you're also sacrificing them points that could have been put elsewhere to optimize your other weapons. So you're kind of this stat spread here that's kind of preventing them from really playing around or playing for a high reward option, and that seems to be, I feel what holds back the setup. So judging from their HP, looks like they are actually rune arc.
Oh, they're rune-arced this time. Never mind. I'm dumb. Oh, she's arced now. Okay, sorry. I'm a silly goose. Momento. Still with a considerable, not actually electing to go for swaps here. Interesting choice. We're staying full locked on bull goats, not electing for the HP tallies. Interesting choices here. Let's hope that it pays off for A2, that they're not going to be caught in menu, but Foolish has been doing such an incredible job of just keeping up that insane amount of pressure right off the bat, as we see the immediate punish here with the Smith script dagger just to get a nice tasty amount of chip. And I've seen some shenanigans with that Smith script, as we are going to see these jumps coming out here on the side of Foolish, but we do see the whip managing to get a nice little bit of a punish and into the whip. But however, the standing R1s on the side here, as we are going to see that tasty amount of pressure into the full weapon art once again. I forget what it's called. It's the DS3 one. That's all I know, as it's forced back now. But we are seeing A2 managing to get a nice bit of damage here, and this, you mentioned the anti-airs before, they seem to have kind of gone full in on that. Forced back in now once again, as we are going to see the put away, as Foolish manages to take the round in an absolute sweep. What an interesting cook here on the side of Foolish meta. Interesting cook. I've been super curious. The whip has some interesting properties to it. Very, very interesting properties to it. But following up with the Smith script to start off, all of those other stuffs, it's you can just do so much damage. You can just keep up so much pressure with them. They can't play passive. You force them in a permanent state where they're forced to engage from the get-go, and then you have the funny the circ or two, to try and get some decent damage as well when they least expect it, especially on a toggle. As
And
it seems here.
that right there, and is actually where Foolish setup would fall short.
it actually has great ways to force the opponent to aggro, but if the opponent does aggro, its defensive methods are actually rather limited. I see no, because even they have a swap to Smith script Cirque, like the BHB, that is still not an instant poise break. So actually, if you ran low poise against this, I don't know how you win. If you ran high poise against this, like, okay, you're kind of cooking, because they lose the DS3 Whip Ash of War like full combo. They lose stun on everything. They just lose a lot. And so what's their immediate way to poise break? This is why Foolish is using a lot of jumping attacks, defensive jumping attacks, preemptively. Not necessarily looking for like a delayed option from the opponent, but like actually as a like as their like first response to aggression, because it's like, okay, how do I get a poise break?
Yeah.
You know? That's so it's a style of playing. It's also like it's just adapting to the flaws of their own setup. But I feel like a true hard meta setup could still find ways around it. But unfortunately, A2 just did not have the weapons to deal with that. The off stock was just simply too low damage and also didn't stun. The Great Lance really, on paper, great moveset, but like I said, the Lance's flaw, one hand or two handed, was always jumping. Just it seems to always be able to evade. Absolutely the go-to kind of method around it. So it seems like this was a bit of two very unique setups you basically never see, but ended up being a nightmare matchup for A2. So you're stuck with low damage with a moveset that can't really take advantage of the flaws of the opponent's setup. So unfortunate. That's quite literally an unfortunate bestie for that one.
An certified unfortunate bestie memento? Real?
Absolutely 100%.
Yeah, interesting stuff. And that's one of the reasons you mentioned, interesting setups. We see things that don't get picked all that often. That's kind of one of the joys of these beginners brackets, is you never quite know what you're going to see, to be honest with you. But, and speaking
that's one thing I'll say. As one who's played a lot of not beginner brackets, you kind of know exactly what's going to come out. Like, beforehand. Oh, there was one time where the literal anti-Luber squad, and that is not a joke, by the way, that's a group chat that existed. It cooked up a bunch of weird setups to try to like fight me, and none of them worked. Actually, you know what's funny? You know what setup was that did the best against me, though?
I'm curious. I'm curious, Bobero. What was it?
I'm sheer flaming strike. What a surprise! But anyway, yeah. These tournaments here, I'm already LGS. I'm happy. It brings me joy to see LGS.
LGS is one of those things. Okay, you're gonna have to talk me down from this, okay?
Okay.
I can put, like, if I was thinking about making a tier list vid for the new patch and stuff like that the last little bit, but thinking about it, I look at LGS and I go from anywhere from like low A tier all the way down to like dumpster tier. I can't make head nor tail of that goddamn thing, because sometimes you fight it and you're like, man, that's really, really good. I'm getting damaged. He's getting his free aims off. It's really, really solid. It shits damage. He can accommodate for the tracking, and then you fight it again and you're like, man, that tracking absolutely sucks. It can't hit me. I can strafe everything it does. I don't know what to do with it, Luber. I just don't know what to do with it. It's an AR stick, but help me. Help me.
My master taught me this one thing. An ancient move. Pass from shitter to shitter. It's called sword dance. You need to use sword dance, buddy. That's the secret.
You know what, Luber? I think you might be on something. Before we crack on with this match, let's just take a... Oh, Osiris has apparently no build. That's kind of...
I was gonna comment on LGS a little more, but in a non-jokey way, like actual honest take of the weapon.
Yeah, go for it.
LGS has good damage. Honestly, solid damage, but suffers from low poise damage and low active frames. The reason why the moveset looks like it roll catches everything, but it doesn't, is because it has low active frames. Which also makes it considerably worse on latency. You want an example of a setup that is top tier, like we were talking hard meta on low lat that becomes like just straight up not even that good on high lat. Rakshasa with main hand Falx.
Interesting.
The Falx Ash of War is a highly functional vortex that forces guessing games, but because of the low active frames, just loses its edge on latency. And to go back to what's actually happening on the screen, let's talk about the LGS again. So the LGS, what makes it strong, or one thing it has compared to other, like, you know, compared to the sitting meta, right? Is the fact that it has good length, good AR, and also fast sword dance.
Yes, and the fast sword
pretty
dance
much the
does
best
so
way-
much. Nice.
Best way I found
damage.
to use it is to use it as a basically a sword dance stick. That is your go-to way to break in one. You have that and also your jumping attack. Like as you see right here, jumping attack, the jumping R2 specifically is quite strong. And
The
as you can
sword
see, they are
dance.
on sword dance. So like yeah, so they Osiris is doing pretty much. This is the most competitive you can make light greatsword. That of
Yeah.
course means that it's completely outclassed by the
Oh.
other higher meta things that can use sword dance. So for example, an unrestricted Shamshir would turn this into a complete joke. But you can still play around the sword dance. Like this is what I mean when I said like you need a high reward option to like play around. The flaw of not having access to poise break is mostly fixed by adding sword dance to LGS.
Yeah.
However, that does mean that it struggles immensely against hyper armor, because the moment it's like up against anything that can deal with a sword dance, now it's like, okay, well, I'm back to having a base moveset that cannot break.
Yeah,
And so it suffers.
Yeah, I think having a poise chip option like a toggled off dag or something like that, just to keep up, like, okay, I can get that nice bit of poise chip, hit him for a nice little bit, and now I'm safe. I think can mean an
disagree.
awful lot. But having someone be able
disagree.
to rush you down and constantly just ignore it and just go, I'm going to just hit you, can definitely be rough. But what's the disagreement there? I'm curious.
I would disagree on the off dag because I would hold on to my two-handed AR.
Gotcha.
I think
okay.
a lot of the things that what allows you to stand your ground in this game. Speed. It's like, okay, speed, and this is also counting like recovery, right? Like how early you can recover. Damage, stun. We've established that the LGS kind of has the first one pretty quick, not the fastest. It doesn't have the stun, but has the damage. The moment I see somebody go one-hit on their LGS, they are already in the corner, and I already flaming strike, and I already backstab them in real life.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't do that.
Oh, nice.
So I
going
actually
for those
think that what
R2s.
Osiris is doing, which is sticking, like holding on to their objective strengths and sticking to two-handed LGS last match was absolutely the play, but they are abandoning it and actually going for the Freya CGS.
Oh, managing to get that intro up, but the trade comes through, not able to get that, that
And
second one
actually,
off.
look, Osiris, you can tell Osiris has been practicing with the LGS because they're doing exactly what I talked about just the match before. Notice what Quiasso is on.
Yeah, the great katana, trying to get to go for that.
But not any great cat. That's Rakshasa, something with
Rakshasa.
hyper armor. So all of a sudden, sword dance no longer is your go-to poise breaker that actually goes through things. Rakshasa would be that. So now they know they're losing out on their amount of options. They swap to Pata, and they
Man.
are able to beat the Rakshasa.
Definitely,
So there you
and
go.
I think that it's important to note as well, just as a nice little thing to keep in mind as well, is that poise chip setups get, because of how poise has been implemented in the game, it basically relegates it. You basically refill your poise bar whenever you swing. So obviously the Rakshasa, I'll get it right eventually, Luber, is basically shuts down the LGS, even though it still is an AR stick. It's just not able to get those breaks that it needs. Can the jump R2s even break, or is it the multi-swing? Is it still the multi-swing that gets the full break? It's probably the multi-swing, right?
I'm pretty sure it's still the multi-swing, but
Yeah.
the fact that it comes out so quickly and like the jump R2 on GS, the angle, the momentum of it means that even if they like hype armor through like the first thing, the second one will also hit them. So it's kind of like it can work that way, and it feels pretty comfy to use. But it has its flaws, of course.
Actually trying to land the harpoon. What an actual legend. Here is the side of Kuiso, who's doing a really solid job of just keeping up that pressure right off the bat, but back onto the
look
LGS.
at that.
Yeah.
LGS, look at that. It's exactly what I was describing. Like LGS into Rakshasa, the Hypermer Wars are just happening. It looks like Arceus was able to just get in like the finisher of Sword Dance to get more damage, but look at that. Just the Hypermer completely shutting down every single thing they try. Rakshasa absolutely just dominating using the superior Hyper Armor.
But
keep
in mind that health bar is getting low very quickly, and there comes the R2, actually managing to land the second one. Good spacing on that jumping R2 there to get the first swing out of the way.
Guitar. Ooh, bad whiff punish.
Oh, tries to go for
I love the wrangling there, Quisal. That was good.
Force back up there again, but we are going to see the
risky.
Serious damage coming out there, though. What a scrap! What a scrap, Luber.
That was throwing hands.
Literally,
that was some MMA, like, you know, like last round, like against the cage, against the grid.
But let's take a quick peek at the builds here once again. Kuiso going for the Dex, obviously, for the Rakshasa. And of course, we are going to see a strength build here on the side of Osiris for Pat. I would have thought LGS and Patas would have been more of a Dex setup, or am I completely mistaken? I thought that the AR was different on them. I could be mistaken, though. We might see some more swaps coming out here on the side of Osiris. But curiosity for sure. But we do seem to have both of our contestants in Lobero Bobero. Will you be ever so kind as to give me the count in, bestie?
3, 2, 1.
All right.
Allez.
And the bolt is on its
So
way
good.
in. And the katanas are being waggled here from Kilo. It does seem as though we've swapped over to the Great Cat of his own here on the side of Osiris. Confident going into
Great
Kuiso.
Cat versus Rakshasa.
Rakshasa,
Honestly, I've said this. I'm one of the firm Rakshasa non-believers as like a solo two-handed weapon, and I much prefer the regular Great Katana for the Ash of War Freedom. But let's actually see how this turns out.
Oh, nice. We are going to see just that nice punish and rollout coming out there from the side of Osiris. And of course, we're going to see some very careful plays coming out here from Kuiso. Managing to actually land the forked hatchet there to try and get an extra little bit of that bleed build up as well, which Osiris is definitely going to have to be worried about. We're seeing some nice little wave dashes here from neutral, but that backstep into the standing R1 and the trade comes through there, but the was that the kickflip or was that just the R2, the R1 that came out?
No, it was simply an R2 just whiffed, honestly. Like, really bad move to whiff.
Yeah, just the punishment that you can get on a good second roll comes out there on the side of Osiris, though, and Kuiso's doing his best. He's definitely adapted quite nicely as the kendo smash comes out there on the side of Osiris.
Roll out barely avoids the running R2. Oh, sorry, running R1 from
Not a close cut thing, as we do see the priority machine come out there with the off-axe. We might have seen a run out of stam there, or was it just that the cancel window is so garbo? Can't actually tell. I'm going to guess that it was maybe an endurance memento.
Cyrus is playing the Great Katana in a very unique way, using lots of jumps instead of like remaining grounded like you'd expect with Great Katana.
I find that people who've been maining one thing a hell of a lot have an awful pick up habits from setups. We've seen the LGS that they used very effectively, as that is going to be, oh my god, almost managing to land that jump attack there, keeping up that pressure. The standing R1 comes out there to follow up, but Kuiso evens it out. Oof.
So what you saw there was a lot of preemptive backswings from Osiris using the Great Katana, anticipating just like a run in from Kuiso, but it just never happened, and they seems like they ran themselves out of stamina, and eventually did the like panic, like the what is it? Like post swift panic. We're like, okay, I gotta get out right now. But they were recovering for so long that it ended up just being a roll catch.
Yeah. And those holds and stuff like that can be very useful. What I really want to see here from the side of Osiris is to really change up those roll catch timings, because he's fairly consistently going immediately for that second R1 just as a means of keep out, but I feel like changing that up and trying to force a bit of pressure out of it might actually be the play, considering that Kiwiso is respecting it so much. But we're going to see the heal up here from the side of both players. Bobero, I give you the floor, sir, as the bolt is on its way.
Oh. Allez.
You're talking to that Nash guy again, haven't you, Luber?
Oh, yes.
But yeah, nice showing here for both of our players here. We're going to see that whiff there from Kilo. But back onto the LGS, and as you had said before, just that hyper armor is just able to interrupt literally everything.
Shutting down the LGS. Like, it's so sad. Like, this is where LGS basically falls off tiers, because it's like, okay, well, this can fight. Like you'll play this against like Shamshir, like, okay, well, I can kind of like, I can use the sword dance. I can kind of like, I can push in the corner, kind of. I can play a little bit, and then like hyper armor comes out. But as you can see, like, we also seem to have not abused the hyper armor so much this interaction. And the pressure hits, but the bleed proc evens that up immediately, and they are not respecting the chain of attacks from the LGS. Both players are just going really, they just took each other serious. That was like an immediate tax of the physic right off the bat.
Keeping up that pressure is going to be interrupted into the hatchet. Off hatchet again.
Insisting on keeping Pryor with a weapon with no poise breaking. Very insane that they got away with it on R1, like out of hits like that. We also were just simply not expecting, but who would have? And the comes out.
You're trying to hit two hits again.
One more hit. This is looking extremely difficult for Cyrus here. No way to trade whatsoever on a weapon that needs to trade.
Maybe if I think the only win condition here, Luber. Oh, the blink bolt comes out though. This could be it. And it comes through.
Unfortunate.
This is the face of a winner, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely phenomenal play here from the side of them.
Well played. Yeah, I just well played to both competitors. I think this match was a fantastic showing of the strengths and weaknesses of LGS, pretty much. Like how you can make it the best it can be, and also where it still falls short. In the second half of that match here, when they were even on health, it was pretty much no real way for Osiris to actually make the comeback with LGS. The options were in the menus.
Yeah, for sure. But I will say though, say hello to YouTube, lads. That was a really good match. Did you say hello to YouTube? Would you do that?
Hey YouTube. Bonsoir YouTube. Comment allez-vous?
And go obviously follow Luber as well over at MS Luber Games. He loves games, guys. He absolutely loves them. All right, there we go.
J'adore les jeux.
Are you a French speaker?
Passion.
Are you, or is it just did you learn it in like high school or whatever? I'm actually curious.
I was born in France. I lived in Paris for 18 years, so I had to learn. Yes.
That's why you're so based, Luber. That's why you're so based. You're actually an EU-oid in disguise. No wonder some of your takes make me scratch my head. Holy shit.
I was an EU-oid the whole time.
Maybe the EU-oids were the friends we met along the way, dude.
I'm the most hidden French ever.
I think one of the fondest memories I have of that beautiful country is, of course, in what I can only describe as the most disheveled shed, drinking wine straight out of a barrel. I was far too young to be drinking wine.
Yeah, that sounds like EU. I LARP as a North American, so shield poke doesn't block me, and also
so that's why he gives you the time of day. I see.
Yes, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
He is French, secret French. Oh, you listen. Wait, is heaven with an E or an A? Okay, it's with an E. Okay, I can spell, guys. Trust. 100%. I'm well read, duders. All right, there we go. We are getting ready for the first of losers bracket round 1. Which, let me just get all of my shenanigans put through. All of losers bracket are, of course, lightning rounds. So if you are excited to see some pretty quick matches running through, this is definitely going to be one of them, as we are going to get rid of that, and our overlay looks so pretty. Losers, get your shit together. Show us what you got. Hells yeah. Foolish. Alright, well, it does seem as though we have Romanju versus Heaven. That was uncalled for. Alright, I have all of the overlays and everything set. While we just wait for the players to get in, let's take just a quick... Oh, that is the wrong one. Let's take just a quick peek at the builds. It is going to be Faith on the side of Romanju. Voices. The dexterity of Heaven. Oh my god. Powerful stuff. I'm just... Uh-oh. What the hell is this? Luber, what is this build?
Wait, what am I looking at?
The frenzy. Is that the frenzy? Is that a frenzy thing?
What do you mean? Those builds look normal.
It's just the incantation thing. I wasn't quite sure what that was. Oh well.
That's a seal. That's a seal.
It's a seal. No, it's not. It's an item, bro. Seal. There's no seals in the arena. You're safe. The seals are not here. This isn't PSN. But anyway.
No.
All right, boys and girls, we have both of our contestants in and ready to go.
The seals, the little silly seals are everywhere. No.
All right, let's get this show on the road, as it is going to be a Romanji versus Heaven. I'm going to be curious what incantations Heaven is going to be rocking out here. I've said for a long time I've been waiting for someone to really fully lab out and out-luber the Luber build, the Luber Flame memento that we had so long ago. But we're going to see the Grey Cat out once again versus the Halberd off straight sword once again.
No, that's off Pata.
Is it off Pata this time? They're about the same bloody length, so it's hard to tell the differences we are going to see.
Yes, that's off Pata. No, actually, no, Pata is visibly longer. That's what I know.
Goes for that again. What's that called again?
It's the Horde Warrior sword thing. I don't know what the name of the actual for is. Like off Pata. I heard about like that setup and its ability to cook, but unfortunately, I don't know if the poison damage on it is all that. I guess we'll have to find out.
It's breaking pretty consistently on one there. There was a ghost hit, if I was unmistaken, so it is actually able to get that double dip on the... I was going to say, if there was the spear tally there, you double dipping up with the Rakshasha into Halberd. Halberd, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, just struggles into hyper armor. It's so slow, can be traded into pretty much on reaction. And as we see there, just the Rakshasha going to absolute town. Ouch. Tragical, I believe is the technical term. Tragical. Kind of a curious setup, though. The off-pata, I believe it had Poise Break there, although I'd have to check we'd have to consult the spreadsheet like we're playing EVE Online or something. But Heaven does manage to take that in a fairly confident first round, and I think it's just very patient play, and playing off the offhand here on the side of Rao, I think is going to be the play. 110, you think? Interesting. I'll check during a break, no doubt. Oopsies. That's definitely going to be the play here, as we do seem to have both of our contestants in their respective corners. Aluber, are you at the ready, bestie?
3, 2, 1.
As we give Stone a little bit of a head pat there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm kind of curious here. We do see the swap over to Power Stance Straight Swords, which I feel is a much more comfy pick into Hyper Armor. Just given that Power Stance Straight Swords struggle against the top setups to be able to get those whiff punishes, the fact that it has something it can actually punish now is going to come in very clutch, as we are going to see Raugang get hit right off the bat there, and we see those waggles there in neutral managing to be punished. But that running L1 is definitely not the play.
R2 just hurt my feelings, and that hit me too. That hit me too, goddammit.
The Beast Claws are coming out. Interesting.
Beast Claws? Whoever's pulling out Beast Claws, I respect you immensely.
Oh,
the mid-match Runark. Honestly, I'm fine with that.
I think we'll let that one slide.
We'll allow it.
It'll be
It's
cool.
cool.
It's all cool. We're all Gucci and golden, but that's beast claws. Beast claws are one of those things that the only reason I feel they hit me is because I don't know the move set.
So the beast claws, another weapon that deserves its own video on how bad they are. Just actually like truly a miserable weapon. But I really respect Rumanji for just choosing them here, just to like style out, just to be like, fuck it. I'm gonna do my thing.
Of all the DLC setups, Lubero Bobero, the martial arts are just tragic. The only thing that has poise break in those goddamn things is the running R2 one-handed on the kick. It's actually so sad.
That's all of that. All of this is complete propaganda. It does not even break.
Does it not? I've had it
Well,
break
it
pretty
doesn't. Well,
consistently.
it doesn't break on first hit, which means it doesn't break.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. You got me. As we're going to see the Sword of Night come out here. As we swiftly move on from me trying to spread propaganda. I'd never do that. Not in a million years. Force back in now. Once again, we do see the straight sword into the parry!
Rumanji! From the depths of despair, the L2!
Oh, he got something for
The end of
breakfast!
look at the Beast Claw R2 Rumanji is styling out. This is exactly it. Like, in the end, the unfortunate running R2 hits here, but Rumanji honestly ending this fight with their fists raised towards the sky, styling out in their own way before meeting their end. Honestly, that fight was absolutely beautiful. Well played.
Bravo, sir, I dare say. Absolutely impeccable showing, sir. GG's. Well played. Sorry, I just very much felt the need to do that. We do have both of our contestants in, Lubero Bobero. Would you give me the honor of counting me bestie?
2, 1.
As we give the stone the head pats once again. Oh, never mind. We are going to see...
Oh, wait.
Oh, no, because it's I'm stupid. It's a best of 3.
Huh?
I'm so silly. It's best of 3 for losers.
Oh no, that was it!
Yeah, that was it.
La la. Oh no.
Oh non, monsieur. Pardon.
That's right, you apologize to those you've disappointed.
I'm sorry to everyone I've disappointed today. A bit of BM. What does the talisman that looks like an embryo do? That was a very specific question, Credentials. That was a very specific description of that talisman. I'm not actually sure if I'm being completely honest with you.
Are they referring to swaddling?
They might be? What talisman? It is swaddling. Okay, it's swaddling. Gotcha. Yeah, swaddling is a very, very useful one. Let me just get the... I have been caught unprepared. I can't believe it. I've actually let the side down. You hate to see it. I was having so much fun with those matches that I'm gonna be real. I forgot that it was a GG. Cyrus, cool, and it's gonna be 0 to Cyrus. Cool. Right, A2 is into Hoos. We're gonna see Heavenly move on into the second round of losers, and then it's gonna be A2 versus Osiris in this next match. But no, honest to goodness, well played to Romanji. Thank you for coming in clutch. I know it was very short notice. I believe this is your first tournament as well, so you know what? Listen, I hope you enjoyed yourself. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Remember, you're welcome to join as many of these, so long as you don't get top 2 in a main bracket or top 1 in a round robin bracket. So, thanks a million for coming up. I hope you really enjoyed yourself. All right. And we do see the sleep-deprived A2 pretty much ready to take on the world. Let's take a quick peek at the... No, that is the wrong button once again. I believe both contestants are in, if I'm unmistaken. No, only A2, so only pay attention to what A2 is looking at here. We don't have the other build set up yet, so it is going to be...
I already love the setup I see on the left here. That's exactly what I use on my Faith build.
Really?
Yeah, like they full Solitude with the Mekala circlet. Actually, that's exactly what I run.
Interesting. Well, we are going to see the side, the fancy DLC side coming out again with the... Is that particular off-axe decent? I've seen a few people use it in these beginners tourneys, and I haven't quite figured out if it's better than hand axe yet. The ice round.
Largely depend on your build, but I believe that if I'm looking at this correctly here on this being a dexterity build, and this, yeah, it would be possibly better, possibly not.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's get this show on the road, and before we crack on, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to give a special thank you to Nash Space Spinner for the raids earlier on. 44 Selk, thank you for the follow. Credentials, BBAY, I can't say that. Zhao Zunk Bandera, Leon 95, and Cos Clever for the follows, and Osiris J for the absolutely goated, to quote a great man, the goated community subs to everyone. I appreciate you all. Thank you all so much for the support,
Ron
everyone.
has stepped in and has confirmed that the hatchet is long. Like, it's just a very long off-axe with a good moveset, but significantly less damage. So you're losing damage for length. Very typical.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like from self-balancing. But either way, Lobero, A2 in the blue.
3,
Osiris in the red.
2, 1. Ali.
Away we go. Monsieur. Le physique.
The physique.
Le gaga. Oh, we do see the greases come out here on the side of Osiris, going for that bleed once again, and manage. The LGS is out, and it is about. This is what I mean when it's able to get stuff like this out, Luber. I just feel like it does so much damage. But we are going to see the follow. Not going for the follow up. There is the side of A2. Interesting choice here. We are going to see what seems to be... Is that the thrusting sword? No, it's LGS. Never mind. I'm stupid. As we are going to see that immediate attempt of pressure there from the side of A2.
Oh, that's not a thrusting sword with that length.
I wouldn't put it past FromSoft, Luber, to be honest with you. Force back in now once again. We are going to see these R2 spam coming out here from neutral from the side of Osiris, who is going to get punished, and that side comes in, but... goes for that next swing, which unfortunately isn't going to be enough to poise break, but the last part of that actually hits, and we do see the back hang come out here on the side of A2, who's pretty far behind. I'm not sure if there's a tier skip option unless the second half of the R2 goes through, or alternatively, we're going to see a massive trade come out there, tries to go for the follow-up, this tracking on side comes through, but the Ice Rind is actually doing good work, forcing a much more even match. Here is the side of A2, 1100 to 200, but it's quite a hill to climb with that much of a health deficit, but we do slowly but surely see that health build back up as Osiris is going to eat another bit of damage. 870 to 203. Force back in. The trade comes through, managing to get the interrupt, actually. Force back in now. A2 is still in it, but unfortunately... Ay. Osiris takes the win.
LGS. WGS. It's over.
Is it Jover, my friend? Is it Jover? Very close match in the wind-up there. Very, very close match in the wind-up. The side is... How do you feel about the side buffs, dude? I'm kind of on the fence about them. I think side might actually be pretty decent these days, especially with an offhander. On an occult build, swap to off wacky, go for that poison mist, get that double proc, and then keep pressure until they eventually don't roll the dagger. I feel that that's a pretty strong option now, but...
It's certainly something I've been eyeing up myself, but...
Still ultimately suffers from one thing, which is that one-handed.
Yeah, for sure.
It just loses one-handed. I don't know what to tell you. Like, with an offhand, yes. Sides with off dagger can be dealt. Yeah, like you have like specific matchups, specific setups that where it could perform well, but ultimately, like the scythe moveset itself, even with buffs, is inherently quite weak, because what made it weak was actually not so much the speed, it was the angle of the swing. And the angle of the swing didn't change.
She eats that. The flaming strike comes through, tries to go for the trade. Ouch. Managing to be hit there from neutral there with the running attack there. Forced back now once again. Are we seeing Osiris fat roll right now? Oh, he's gone for the swap over. Not quite. We do see the backswing try and come out there from the side of A2. Not quite able to make it. Backswing. And force back to jump. R2s are actually doing a decent amount of work here in this matchup as the rolling R1 comes through. Tries to catch with that again. Goes for a standing R1. Just not quite able to make it.
Keeps trying to attack after some people getting their jumping attacks dodged, and they're just getting hit
Yeah.
out of R1, out of startup.
That. Oh my god! Did
Ooh.
that actually land? I couldn't quite make out if there was a connection there. Did some decent enough damage.
That
Osiris,
landed for sure.
Osiris is actually taking a decent amount of damage in these exchanges here. He's been chipped back down again, and we see this long play come out here on the side of A2, trying desperately to keep up that damage. Osiris is in the corner, but of course we are going to see an attempt to go for that Ash of War. Not going to be punished here from the side of Osiris, who's playing a very careful game. See those jitters out in neutral? And there you go, the patas do pata things. The mash comes through, and that's Osiris moving in through to the next round. GG's A2, thank you so much for coming. And good job to Osiris. Well played. Patas are about landing to my expectations here, and not in the way I was imagining. Now I can sleep, GG's. Get some rest, A2. Thank you so much for filling in. And it's always a pleasure to watch you fight. You always bring the most interesting stuff, but... Luber, that is round 1. That is round 1.
Wow.
What was your favorite one so far?
My favorite one where my favorite round so far in this entire match was the part where round 1 finished before the 6-hour mark, which is insane from the perspective of a PlayStation player. That is absurd. That is ridiculous. But honestly, my favorite match. I honestly don't know.
I very much like the LGS showing up there and going to town.
The
really,
LGS
really nice.
is pretty decent. The Rumanji lock in on their last legs. You know what? It's time to actually show them. I have aura. I have all the aura, and I'm gonna parry you and roll catch you with Beast Claw, which is the worst weapon in the game.
Oh man!
Because to go back to that, while we're kind of in this little break here in between rounds, as much as martial arts make me question my love of games, Beast Claws make me hate games.
I thought you loved games, though, Luber. What the hell?
I love games. I really do adore games, but when they put Beast Claws in the games,
That gone feral with the thought. Gone feral with the thought.
Okay, Beast Claws versus Perfumes go. Perfumes look pretty, and at least had one. You know what? Okay, Perfume had even if it was a bug, even if it was an oversight, it had access to a high damage thing at some point, which was Rolling Sparks rather.
That was the goofiest thing I've ever seen. That couldn't that one shot fairly consistently, if I'm not mistaken.
Fairly consistently is one way to word it. I was able to have a clip where I one-shot the final boss doing 49,000 damage. So yeah, it's a one-shot, and it was a one-shot, and
well, I mean, at least it made that boss fight tolerable. So you do have that. It did have that going for it. Oof. But yes, we're just waiting now for... We're going to take a very quick break, ladies and gentlemen, just while I grab my breath. Luber, I'll chalk to you in 5 minutes. You get the last word of the round before we just go to a quick break.
Shamshir is off meta.
And we'll be booting Luber after this. All right, chat to you in a minute, folks. Bye.
So, if you get hit by it once...
We accidentally went live.
Hello.
We pressed the wrong button. We will not reveal our top level secrets just yet. See Valentine in YouTube chat. Hello, welcome in. All right, let us get cracking with this next match. It does seem we have Darcy's in World, who is going to be in red. The lady in red coming through. A2, no, it's not A2. It's Darcy's. There we go. And we are getting cracked on with this next match. It's going to be Lane Saw here in this one. Cool beans. All right. Milena wants to talk Grace. Really? Oh, no. All right. Well, we do have both of our players in, Luber. Do you have any Let's just quickly take a peek at the builds then as we crack on.
Yeah, show the builds. I will give it a prediction.
The prediction. We're going to see the sheer off axe here from the side of Darcy's once again.
Oh my! Is this? You know what? Close enough. Welcome back, Ogbro and Luber.
And it does seem as though it's going to be Shamshir Mirror by the looks of things. Interesting.
Okay,
Alright.
just a whole sham mirror. Well, okay, that's pretty
So one of the mirrors
pretty
of all time.
straightforward here. One of the mirrors of all time. It's about like not falling for FS, making the opponent fall for your FS, and really, it's always the same thing with everything. Push up like space better, be more proactive in neutral, get the opponent in the corner, punish with backswing setups from R1 or jump R1 into a backswing.
We are going to
we
see
actually
the
got a
swap
swap
over.
here.
Yeah.
Robbed of the mirror, of the most glorious mirror of all time, and it's that we have here the Pata.
And the Pata into Shamshir here is interesting. Both have really good ways of really getting pressure in on people. We do see the swap over to the HTSs. We are going to see the... Oh my god! Actually managed to land them! Actually managing to land it.
They abandoned their previous forms and moved on.
Both
Something
sides.
greater.
Yeah, bigger and better things are coming here as we are going to see Darcy's here try and go for that. It is going to be EU versus NA East, so that may go into the calculation here on the side of the HTS, but those Patas can just do so much damage. It's kind of crazy as we are going to see just that phantom hit there comes out. Forced back in now once again. The jumps coming through here from Darcy's. Good dead angles here, but unfortunately the scythe swap here on the side of Darcy's. Interesting decision here. I'm not sure if the air game is really good enough for the side of Patas as we see a hit there from neutral. Caught with the trousers down here as we see that nice bit of pressure into the R2. Into a tasty bit of a mash, but the sword dance comes out there to try and get that bit of pressure. Darcy's going for that. The kick?
The kick!
What? What am I seeing here? Forced back in now. Once again, we're going to see both players here. Empty jumps coming out here from the side of Darcy's, looking to try and get those dead angles to try and throw off the timing here of Lane, who is keeping Darcy's in the corner. Forced back, but that mash of the Patas is just so nasty, as we are going to see just a nice interrupt. Tries to go for the crouch attack there, but good rolls here from the side of Lane, who has a considerable life advantage, keeping that poison up. Are we going to see it? We are going to see Darcy's forced into the corner. Here goes for that standing R1. She has to make her break here. She's 83 HP on the board. And are we going to see the physics? Oh, we actually do see it for free, but the kick comes through into...
Is that sounds
combo?
True combo. Yes, it absolutely is. It 100% is. Kick has a very, very long stun, as a matter of fact. So yes, that would be a combo. Incredible. Incredible.
Oh, we learned something new every day as Lane Saw is now on the board. And Valentine asked a question that we did answer earlier on, but I don't see a problem going again. I have a question. What is the best Ashes of War on Milady? Luber, I'll let you take
Sword
it away.
dance. It is simply sword dance. LGS is best used right now, especially in a competitive dueling environment, as a sword dance stick, and you have to play around sword dance. And if the opponent is using a setup that does not let you do that, you're better off swapping to something else. That's my opinion on that.
Yes, it is a sword dance because of hyper armor. That's one of the reasons, and I believe it has poise break as well, right? Even on Milady.
That's why it's like it becomes your bread and butter move. It's because it's your poise break. It's your poise break, which they also have to respect because of the hyper armor. But if they have superior hyper armor, then you have no way to actually halt that person.
Interesting. Well, we'll crack on with this next match, but thank you for your insights. Bestie Luber. Forced back in now as the bolt is out. The players are having their chug. And we're now onto the mirror to end all mirrors, Luber. The Sham Sheer. The sheer audacity of them.
Luber. The strongest.
Good spacing here from Darcy's and decent patience as well, as we are going to see that Phantom range actually play.
Darcy's doing incredible right now, like with the angle, the like free aim swings to bait like sort of a punish attempt here. Very, very good. Exactly what you should do with Shamshir.
Yeah, force back in there once again. She's playing a very patient game, but nice whiff punish. Tries to force out that
Could be a
roll.
backswing, I think.
Not backswing, but she actually held it there. She went for the standing R once. She just did a block cancel on it there to try and get that punish as we see more coming through. And the trades come out.
The trades are not looking good!
No, they are not. We're actually pretty even as Lane Saw actually takes it, and you mentioned it, sword dance. It's the sword dance into the inescapable on this alert! In my Elden Ring? Force back in there on the flaming strike. Wake up for breakfast! Ow.
What is for breakfast from 2011 to 2024? Flaming strike is for breakfast. Great combustion is the same thing.
We're on that hyper armor there with the stone club, and both they decide to mirror again. The hyper armor mirror?
Oh my god. Close enough. Welcome back, PlayStation.
But the fat rolls are coming out here on the side of Lane. Oh, the pivot to follow up, but that damage that it's able to output is just insane. I feel like Katars and stuff like that have always felt a little bit like a Bloodborne setup to me. The run R1 into mash. Forced back in now. Darcy's barely able to get away with that. I'd say her poison bar is looking pretty full right now, Luber, and I'd be sweating with 66 HP and a dream. Oh dear, Flaming Strike's coming out there, not walking into it though.
With a good Flaming Strike, this is absolutely doable, but unfortunately, Lane choosing patience and the huge advantage you have here with Pata, especially in a matchup where you actually do not, where you do have the range advantage, unlike before with Katars, is you can really pick your interactions. You can really choose, okay, I'm going to engage here.
Yeah.
I'm the one kind of pushing the opponent around because I have more range.
And it does have crazy range as well. I mean, they literally strap straight swords to their arm and call it a fist. It's kind of obscene. But yeah, I just want to give a special thank you, Alter. Thank you so much for the raid. Alter's been in several of my tournaments and has never made an infraction ever. So he is a based individual, and thank you so much for the raid. I do appreciate it. Whew, but yeah, no, so the rationale behind the rule set at the moment is because we do weeklies, I like to think that it gives me a bit more flexibility. This is strong this week, this is strong the next week. We play with that, we play with this. And I think that giving Patas their opportunity to stand on trial in The Hague is a very important thing. And they are an incredibly strong setup with the amount of pressure that they're able to put out. Like, again, you can run at people from Kilo. They got rid of spears, but they gave us 2 new ones, kind of a deal. But I'm super curious of this next round. Will we see the reverse sweep incoming from Darcy's? Or will it be just a sweep on the side of Lane? Oh. Someone joined and left. Never mind. You hate to see it. But I'm curious, what adaptations does Darcy need to make here other than be a bit more selective with those flaming strikes, try and go for those spacing attacks, and kind of pick the mixes and whether or not I go for standing R1 or a run R1? What's the game plan here, if especially going up against those Patas?
I think introducing jumps as a method of approach is something that actually you would absolutely need to do here.
And again, Patas just have that struggle, but again, keep in mind,
exactly, Lane is playing constantly out of range of their actual regular attacks. Instead of they're not introducing a new method of approach using the jumps. And Lane could also benefit from doing the same thing, but Lane is simply just playing for the R1s, and Darcy is falling for it. So. Yeah,
I mean, it is always risky. You do expect that they're going to roll out. Oh, I have pressure, I have this, and you get overly enthusiastic about running in there, but not as just the caster's curse, my friend. As we see the jump R1 come out there from the side of Darcy's, definitely coming through there. As we see a running attack there as a means of engaging good spacing here from the side of Lane Saw, who's just chilling like a villain there in neutral, content to just wait for anything, trying to go for these backstabs here, but the trades come out from Darcy's. She is very low. She's gonna have to play very, very safe here.
Roll.
But Lane has a serious amount of dominance as the halberd comes out.
Swap comes out to Halax.
Oh, but that whiff punish
here, but getting outranged, unfortunately, by the Shamshir for an R1 finish. Very unlucky.
Unfortunate. Again, that I've always felt that halberd is, from fighting Lane myself, their strafes are so very on point that it can be quite difficult without those free aims and guessing correctly on those free aims whether or not they go for the counter strafe the other way. It's definitely a mess. It can be quite difficult for me to go up against someone who's that consistent with them. And again, we have very low ping as well. It's like UK to Ireland, so you know, the UK might be laggards, but not to me, unfortunately. I envy the rest of the world. But a good showing from Darcy's, and we will see her later on in the losers bracket as we move on to later on in round 2. And I just realized I closed all of my shenanigans, so I'm going to have to restart some stuff. Give me just a moment, Lobero Bobero.
Buberina.
Challenge. But yeah, I always feel that one of the reasons why I was unimpressed with the Shamshir early on in patch 1.1 was if your spacing isn't good and you're not like reliable enough to try and get that backswing, I just do not feel that it's a very strong setup. But when you have that positioning down, you're able to get that backswing, you're able to get those space outs and actually forcing that pressure and leverage the just insanely low recovery for what it's able to do and leverage how far the goddamn thing moves. I feel it's a very,
Also,
very strong setup.
Another thing is sometimes it's required free-aiming the backswing. Or
Yes.
like just angling stuff a little more. And also here's a little trick I do all the time as like it's just like muscle memory at this point. Unlock relock mid-swing. So what you can do is this applies to any attack you want to like correct the trajectory of, unlock relock. Launch the attack free-aimed at the general direction beyond where the tracking would bring you normally, right? Like kind of front load your tracking, if that makes sense.
No, that does stand to an awful lot of reason now that I think about it.
Then midway through, lock back on to correct the trajectory and have it hit. This is basically in Dark Souls 2. People you would do this a lot in Dark Souls 2. It's a very, very effective method in Dark Souls 2, and it just kind of sticks. In general, I do this in Elden Ring as well, and it works. So,
no, my profoundest apologies, everyone. I'm currently having some issues, but I have heard some people say, just kind of you mentioned Dark Souls 2, that LGS played in the style of Dark Souls 2 is actually pretty spooky, because again, you go for those free aims, you play around it an awful lot. Oh no, what is going on? Hang on a second.
That statement doesn't make... Wait. Who said LGS played in the style of Dark Souls 2?
As in, like, you play 90% unlocked and try and make sure that you get the other person to make a mistake and then relock on then in the last minute to try and get those hits in. Especially on the standing
I mean,
or
you can... No, I don't know. Well, that was like a DS2 thing. You would do this, yes, Dark Souls 2, you'd play mostly locked off, but I don't see how that benefits LGS in particular in Elden Ring, because LGS can't poise break.
Yeah, I think the reasoning behind it is it just deals with once you manage to get poised chip, you're able to free aim stuff so it actually has a consistent land, I think is the general idea. I made it in time for the tourney bracket standing posted somewhere. Exclamation point Chal Mendobot, and that's where you'll get it. And I just need to get my overlays reset because I accidentally closed it because I'm a genius. And we have Foolish, and I believe everything should be working now. Let me just double check. Pardon me, everyone, for the delay, and especially my guest. I don't want to keep you any longer than I have to. But let's get this show on the road. But let me figure this out, make sure it's all working. I think those builds seem to be about right. Just get everything sorted. All right, we're good to go. My apologies, everyone. All right, we have our contestants in. Let's get this show on the road, and I will do my best to make sure that I don't accidentally close the tab again. All right, cool. Let's go. Foolish in blue, Kiwhistle in red. Let us do the dancings. All right, Luber, take it away. Allez.
All right. See the interesting setup again against the BHB. Now, these specific BHBs, I'm not sure how much damage to really expect from them.
Oh, there you go. You just got your answer. That's still a huge chunk of the health bar.
That's a chunk of damage. And there you go.
Keep in mind on the rule set here, Luber, they're very restricted. They're pretty much ladder restrictions in terms of, with the exception of Millicent's and of course, the veterans. No, what's it? No, it's Millicent's prosthesis and the rotten winged insignia. There we go. That's it. It does still have those, but it forces a nice amount of aggression. But we see that those crouch R1s are just doing an absolutely insane amount of damage, and those R2s coming out here on the side of Foolish, who just eats that particular incantation pretty nastily.
Oh my goodness!
And the jump over the blink bolt there.
That is a ton of damage though on Piasso.
It most certainly is, and they're just able to nuke, and it has a very strange timing as the whip comes through there into the full weapon art there. Are we going to see it spammed again? But look at that. A BHB is still a BHB, no matter how restricted it is. And we are going to see Kiyoso taking the first round.
Right here. So Kiyoso here did exactly what you're supposed to do, taking full advantage of the long recovery of the whip, really forcing Foolish to be on the back foot here and just be at the mercy of those unreactable crouch pokes. Even if they don't poise break, the damage advantage allows it to win. That's one thing about BHP, and why I also think that BHP, with the proper patches, will go from being top tier to being, like, not so good. Their motion value being this overtuned is what makes them strong, because their poise break is terrible.
Yeah.
In every single possible way, BHB are a old ER weapon in terms of how they're actually balanced. They have low poise damage, like they hardly break ever, but they have a super overtuned motion value that just allows them to kill in like a few hits. So I think that weapon is definitely something's going to happen to it for sure.
Oh, just the zooming that comes out here, but the crouch R1, beautiful space in there coming out from Kubuso. But Foolish not taking as much damage as he may have perhaps wanted out of that exchange, and getting a nice tasty amount of chip out of that as well. The Fox is a very funny weapon. Just the amount of free aim that thing has, and the amount of damage the actual Ash of War is able to go. Very nice
on low
stuff.
latency, this is an incredibly powerful vortex. Painted Phantoms loves to use this with the offhand Rakshasa to actually get started using Hyper Armor right off the bat. But as you can see, even without, you can absolutely close in and start cooking with it, and the bleed build up on it, as you can see, is very high. So Falx, absolutely a monstrous weapon. Can't you just jump Falx? It's like, if you try to do it raw from neutral, absolutely you can, but by pairing it with offhand Rakshasa, if you do L1 into L2 on low latency, it will catch the jump, actually. So if you have a little bit of setup to it, it'll simply catch the jump. And I think even if you get hit by the L2 and then the L2 again and don't charge it, predicting a jump, it'll also catch that as well as a mash that hits them. So,
it is jumpable. It is jumpable, but again, it's like point blank when they go for it. Really, when they aim up and they do one.
No, that's what I mean. Like saying jump is an option that you have, but it doesn't. Just jump is a completely false statement, because it ultimately puts you in a guessing situation if you get hit by it. After a specific tier of stun, it completely enables the weapon to make you guess. I have fought this setup quite a bit with Painted, and my answer to it is actually to use a shield and to interrupt the Hyper Armor follow-ups using a guard counter.
And we see here the swap from, I believe that's onto Shamshir here from the side of Foolish Meta into that into the Katana, and just showing just what you can actually do with those punishes. And we see that standing R1 come out there, and just a beautiful roll there from Foolish, again leveraging the fact that he's pretty much zero recovery, and that spacing was absolutely bonkers. Very, very nicely done. Foolish there doing a great job. Force back now once again. We do see the jump R2 come out there to try and get that bit of pressure. The off axe coming through, but again, Foolish is just enabled to mash there and keep up that pressure there, forcing another backswing there, but it is going to be rolled out by Kuwaso, who is doing a decent job, tries to go for that, isn't actually able to land the damage from that, and the backswing comes through there, and actually able to land that jump R2 as well, to try and get that nice tasty bit of a punish. We see the standing R1s coming there again. That is going to be the tier gone, and the Great Cat ain't looking so hot right now, as we are going to see it just does actually manage to land that, but again, the Hyper Armor jump R2 actually managing to get that punish there on it, and we do see the bleed ballast there for free on the side of Foolish Meta going for that. The blink bolt comes through, but is going to be punished. That is the weakness, but we do see the little circs, the 180 homing missiles coming in from Kilo. Those things are goofy. I played a little bit against Foolish this morning just to see what he was on about. Those things are weird, dude. Those things are funky as all get out. The roll timings you have to get on them, the fact that you have to worry about the second one. If they're too close and they guess incorrectly, you can mash like there's no tomorrow on it, especially if they go for the blink bolt, because that startup is a little bit fatigued. We'll call it fatigued. I don't know what to make of them. They hit so hard, but and they have really good tracking, but I feel that it's a punishment on poor positioning in general if they do manage to get them off. That's a personal take, especially with how vulnerable they are to roll-ins and stuff. But either way, 2-1 to Foolish. Not looking so foolish now. Ha 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 ha. Please clap. All right. Are you ready for some gaming, Luber? I know you like games.
I love games. Allez. So, I have here. I love the lightning slash usage, by the way. So, Dex plus lightning slash.
That's fast.
You already get some good damage in.
That whip is doing a fairly decent job of just keeping up that bit of pressure. We're going to see attempts to space it out there. It is NA East again to Central Europe, so that's going to be pretty rough, lad. I'd say somewhere around the 160 100 to 200 range there, as we do see just the poor tracking there, the LGS coming out there, but the R2s are just able to do so much damage. And the Smith script daggers are just kind of bonkers. What's for breakfast? Absolutely nothing is what's for breakfast there, Luber. What is a good wake up? I need to know for science. What do you do? What do you do for breakfast? As we are going to see.
Well, for breakfast, I do what they did back in the age of the Neezy, which is, of course, the Great Combustion equivalent, Flaming Strike.
Evening this one out slowly but surely there, but not good enough as the LGS comes in and Labaus come out. And Kiwaso, who joined us yesterday, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure having you in the main bracket. I hope to see you back soon, because that is round 2 closed out, and now we move on to the losers bracket. Luber, some interesting fights there for sure, and some very interesting setups in that last match. Like, the Cirques here are definitely showing themselves to be quite formidable. What is the general concern? Obviously, it's a BHB. It has insane amounts of damage. What do you reckon, though? How are they faring compared to the rest of the meta setups? Or is it just the fact that BHBs in general are just kind of nutty?
BHB damage, that's it. Honestly, BHB, there's not much to say about the weapon class. The unique throwing R2s are good. And there's some setups, like in some situations, like when you have a health lead, you could be like, okay, it's better to harass with the setup. It's better to harass with those unique R2s. It's better to harass with the projectiles. But overall, the standard basic backhand blades are the best, simply because they have a full move set and they don't lose their running R2, and that they have their nuke button. Pretty much, that's important. What makes BHB is the damage.
Yes.
Because, like I said before, like, what are the fundamentals of what allows you to stand your ground? You need speed, damage, stun.
I just want to...
Backhand Blades has all the damage, all the speed, no stun. Mm-hmm. So if any bit of these other strengths that it loses, that's a net loss for the weapon class. Which is why I would say, as good as the Cirques are, the regular backhand blade is the best.
For sure. I mean, just that Crouch R1 just hits so hard for something that fast. The Run R2, again, even if it doesn't have that poise break, can still absolutely nuke people. And with another unreactable as well with that first attack. There's just so much stuff going on with that setup right now. Obviously, if the damage was tuned down, I can imagine it going down a tier for sure, but that's still going down from like triple S tier, right? It's absolutely nutty.
Oh yes, I what I see for the future of this weapon is a super significant damage nerf, but poise increase, because it's not in line with how things are balanced in the current patch. There's a clear lag between the way certain things are balanced and how. What's the word I'm trying to see? What we're trying to say here. Some of the permutations they made to the attributes of these weapons, like their motion value, the poise damage, all of this, it's from previous versions of the game.
Mhm.
We know this, right? We know that this is something they're probably aware of. We know that this is something that will be addressed, but we don't know when it will happen. We don't know when.
We just don't know when. Yeah, but they've been fairly lively with getting rid of some of the more toxic
That's
elements
true.
of the last patch. So I would imagine in the next week or two we may see another one if they keep up that pressure. I'm just waiting for Kiwiso to get in World, but while we wait, let's just take a quick peek. I believe both of the builds are going to be pretty much the same. It's Heaven, of course, is going to be rock. Oh, there you go. Just that backhand blade is back out again. Everyone kind of gets it. Everyone's picking up what's been put down. Although, no, actually, that is not correct. Let me just do a very quick change over here. Get that change. Get that change. Up. I just need to make sure that all of these things have been reset, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. Due to the silliness earlier on. There we go. That's a little bit more in line with what we were talking about. There we go, and we just did a rune arc here from our players. Looks like it's going to be a 55 dex versus 55 dex. Both of them pretty identical, all things considered. Although, no, it's not, because... There we go. Now it's changed over, and I believe it's going to be Great Cat versus... from Kiwiso. Versus the exact same build that Heaven's been rocking all the way through this tourney. But, Lubero Bobero, are you at the ready?
Of course.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
We give the stone a little bit of a
Away.
head pat real quick. Kaboom. On our way. And you just as we're starting up, Mendo and Jaker, thank you all so much for the support, guys. I really appreciate it. But we are going to see the physics. Le daggers, they're flying through the air. Force back in now. It is going to be a Great Cat mirror. Both sides
Great
on
cat mirror, but
Rakshasha
my honest
versus the other
opinion
one.
of this is that no, one of them is the regular Great Cat. I think the regular Great Cat actually wins in this matchup because the fact that every single Great Cat follow-up is super reactable means that the one, say you're able to tank through something with hyper armor with Rakshasa. It's like you don't take much advantage of that beyond that.
Oh my
But
god.
unfortunately here, the opponent just got hit by everything. So a very swift death here in this first round, unfortunately.
What's up with Heaven having... It's probably perhaps the talismans, I would imagine, Matza. But I'm not actually sure. Let me just double check everything is okay on my end. Yeah, everything looks good on my side. There's no shenanigans seemingly afoot. 117. Huh. Interesting. Alright, well either way, that confusion set aside, let's crack on with the next round. Heaven takes the first stock, and it is a best of 3, not a best of 5. I'll have to adjust that now in just a moment. Force back in, and the bolt is out, Luber. Show's all yours.
Okay, Cirques are out following this defeat in the first round. Going for BHB against the Rakshasa here. Interesting, considering that, I mean, you weren't going to stun consistently anyway because of the low voice damage, so now you're up against hyper armor. I suppose it makes little difference for the BHB user. Ooh, very rare R2 roll catch here. Be very careful. Definitely a health lead there for Kiwiso.
Nicely done. And we just see the helm was making the difference there, which makes a bit of sense. But yeah, nice pressure there coming out on the side of Heaven. Kiwiso doing his best not to get hit by everything this time. But those BHBs are still going to hit like an absolute truck. And obviously Pata into BHB.
Here, Pata, the star of this tournament. What you pull out when you are feeling down, when you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Qatar running R1 will propel you there. And that's the beauty of the Shadow of the Erdtree.
And that R2.
But this poise damage that Kiwiso was doing this whole time, paying off here a full running R2, which is pretty much landing the full, like, first hit stun running R2 is simply the winning condition of the BHB, and Kiwiso was allowed to have this. So it's looking very, very good for them.
On the Flaming Strike comes out there. Are we going to see a bit of pressure? We see a bit fake out there trying to bait out a little bit of a counter aggro there on the side of Kiwiso, but Heaven just wasn't falling, and the half hit comes through. there on the side of Heaven. And we do see now trying to set up for those run R2s as the Crouch R1 comes out, not quite able to connect. Force back now once again. Heaven's playing a very, very patient play as we do see a running R1 fly through, not quite able to connect. Both players keeping up that nice bit of pressure. We're going to see these run out. Good Crouch R1. Is it going to hit? That second one is, and we are going to see the run R2s coming clutch here as we do see the attempted R2. Keeping up that pressure. Ooh. That is going to be the tier procced here on Heaven, who's going to have a little bit of a hill to climb again. The amount of damage that this guy is able to output is absolutely insane as that trade comes through. Kiwiso, realizing he has the health advantage, managing to go for that neat little trade there. That's a nice, tasty amount of damage to a bit of a lead, already considerable lead there. Is that keep out? What is the name of that spell? I forgot. Oh, nice.
Doesn't look like a spell. It appears
it's
to
an
be
ash.
consumable, my friend.
Oh me, oh my. I'm behind the times. I have not learned the game.
Actually, is it? Maybe not.
Force back in now. Once again, we are going to see yet again.
It's not a spell, that's for sure.
Force back in now as you see the frost pot come through there to try and get that. Not quite able to make for it. Whew.
So I was right. It's a reusable consumable. Interesting.
Interesting.
Could be close to an actual death here. Heaven only at 200 HP. That is absolutely way enough for the BHB to finish you off.
And
no. No, I was gonna say no physics on either side. Now all of a sudden it is one hit away for both participants here. What's gonna happen? Whoever lands the next big hit is simply gonna win.
They're gonna trade.
With how little HP Quiasso has left, Heaven could go for like a little tap, and it might just be enough.
Force back in there. Those daggers there are going to be very, very dangerous here. But
the range advantage might really help Heaven out here.
Keep by another dagger just sailed by.
Go either way.
He's Keanu Reevesing it. He's just dodging. He's dodging like it's in slow motion as the run R2 comes out.
Unfortunate. The running R2 from neutral just whiffs and gets punished. Unfortunately, no setup here. Just like right off the bat, running R2.
Going for it, going for the high damage. Unfortunately, ends up being a round loss here for Quiasso.
And now we jump down to Darcy Scout versus Osiris for the last of the losers bracket round 2. I'm hyped. I'm very excited for this next one. Very, very excited for this next one. Darcy's been playing very, very well so far. We had a bit of a fumble against Lane Saw in the beginning of round 2. But Osiris had a very confident match there against A2. And I'm going to be super stoked to see how this one is going to come out. How this one is going to come out. And Fold says, I have a challenge for you. Commentate a round without saying the word once again. Impossible challenge. I'll have to replace the word once again, Folds, with unfortunate every 10 seconds. That's, we all have our quirks. That's mine. Because it is pretty unfortunate that you do get hit by things. So that's just the nature of it. And again, thank you again, Mendo, for the... Bro, you realize you don't have to. That's absolutely insane. But thank you so much. And thank you for Kiwiso for putting on such a damn fine show for us. Hope to see you in future tournaments. A round of applause. I don't have the Brenna clap track to play over this. But thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed the experience. And well played to both. Amazing display, Darcy. See. Safe. Cool. All right. Now we're just waiting for Darcy and Osiris to get into hoose. Do you have any expectations for this match, given everything we've seen so far? Lobero Bobero.
Well, I think we've already gotten a sneak peek of what's going to happen. Darcy has shown that Jordy has an ace up her sleeve in the form of Hyper Armor. The Hyper Armor pick comes out as a sort of comfort pick, even in matchups where it's actually not really the best idea on paper, so it's something that this player is certainly comfortable with. But in the case of fighting Osiris and their setups, like the LGS, the Hyper Armor of the Curved Greatsword is actually one of the go-to counters for this. So I expect CGS first round, and probably an LGS swap, probably to Pata or something.
Yeah, I'd be kind of curious. Osiris, you mentioned comfort picks, and thank you, Patchy, for the follow.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it. Comfort picks are one of those things where they can try. I feel to a certain extent they transcend matchups sometimes.
No, but no, really, but genuinely though, because so there's sometimes there's a weapon that just where not just the weapon itself, but the whole game clicks more
Yes.
when you're playing it. Maybe it's a weapon where the general response that it incites in your opponents is something that you've learned better
Yeah.
than other aspects of the game. And I feel like this is what you would qualify as a genuine comfort pick.
All right. Well,
And I think Darcy's comfort pick, or at least a like comfort backup pick, maybe, is the Freya curved greatsword.
although
So
we do see the PSGS is out and about into the Starfit. And we do see that attempted pressure Knight right off the bat. However, and we have an Endure.
wait, that's banned. I was gonna ask, like, are the rules that generous in this tourney?
Oof. Let me just message Osiris real quick.
Unfortunate. Banned Ash, guys. Oh my god, it's really Jover. No.
All right. That is a round then to Darcy's.
Yeah, that was well after the start. So unfortunately, that's going to be round loss, but not disqualification.
Not disqualification, no, but I think in a best of 3 to make a blunder like that can definitely hurt the elemental to a certain degree. But we're just waiting now to see what Osiris is going to be cooking up here, as I'd imagine they've returned to their world. All right, let me just make sure. Round loss. You are still in, bestie. There we go. All right, cool. It's an accident. I'm okay running it back. I think we're past round 1 at this stage, Darcy. We're just going to go with a round loss and go from there. Again, we still have a good number of matches, and you know that Luber guy is kind of a bit of a micro celebrity, so we'll get as many crack out here as we can.
Celebrity? Oh no!
A Z-list celebrity.
Oh no!
The paparazzi do be out once a week to check that he's still alive and to see what unhinged things he said in X Discord number 372. But yeah, no, honest to goodness, good showing there from Darcy's, what little we managed to see there. The Starfist, though, are absolutely cracked. I know that they've taken a bit of a damage hit, and from what I've heard talking to some of the pro comp players, they have said that some matchups seem to have flipped against it. I'm curious, with that damage decrease, what matchups are they? Is it just the top setups, or are there other things that now have more advantageous matchups into Starfist, or are they coping out of their minds? What do you reckon, Lobero Bobero? You have the podium.
I think. Well, here's the thing, right?
Fundamentally, well, I had using Starfist as a solid, consistent tournament pick for myself while running a 54 strength build, which was considered way too low. But then again, we have lower health pools on PlayStation, so maybe that also affects it. I'll say that most likely, yeah, the top tier matchups, like maybe Shamshir, especially if the two-handed talisman is on the table, is definitely one that was considered like in Fist favor before on PC that may
have swapped over, gotcha. And it's just purely down to damage, although the two-handed tally is banned for the top setups. In fact, most of the damage buff ones do seem to be banned, but we are going to see the Freyas into the halberd here on the side of Darcy's, but that fat roll is going to be punished.
Halberd off with FK short sword as the offhand. Interesting pick.
And do you reckon that that's simply for the range, or is it just does it look cool? Don't care.
It's range, and also the fact that they appear to be on a fate
build. Oh, nice! Going for that two-handed.
So that definitely be the play here. The halberd is just because it looks awesome and reminds me of Dark Souls 1. So thank you for that.
I will say that particular moveset, the Earthsteel moveset on those daggers, does a really, really nice job. It just it hits like a truck. You get that little bit of poise chip, and all of a sudden the other person's in for a world of hurt. But of course, that requires Sacred Blade in order to function. I haven't had the pleasure of testing this one out, as we are going to see that tier gone. Osiris put in a bad spot. Darcy's going for these space outs here, trying to get that extra bit of damage. Good, nice calling out of the roll there. Darcy's actually managing to eat an awful lot of damage, as we are going to see the daggers coming out here.
CGS really showing its damage potential, of course, with Fleming Strike on it, which is the correct way to go about it.
Forcing back out the rolling attack coming out there from the side of Osiris here. Both sides relatively even as the standing R1, the whiff punish stick.
Osiris.
Ooh, actually managing to clip Darcy there.
Very, very, not the strongest armor, which is not amazing when you're trying to trade it. Oh my god, they somehow both miss each other. Jumping attack comes out, doesn't get punished.
Uh-oh.
Darcy's just chipping using the dagger and is going to finish him off, unfortunately.
And that is the end of Losers Round 2, ladies and gentlemen. Oh me, oh my. There's been some... I still think the foolish matchups are definitely some of the more interesting ones. Just by virtue of the fact that, like, he's playing around with some neat ideas over the course of this tournament, Lobero. There's some neat things, and I'd be curious to see slowly but surely as he develops them, what comes out of this. No, Osiris, just to be clear, there's absolutely no worries, brother. It happens to the best of us. Listen, again, I've forgotten to rune arc in brackets. I've forgotten to do a bunch of things. Listen, shit happens when we mess up our inventories. You walk it off. You played well, brother, and thank you so much for coming. I can't wait to see you in the next one. I had a train of thought somewhere, and now it is lost. Oh no. What was I saying, Lobero? There's the foolish match, and the whip in particular having some interest. I'm not sure what the exact poise break points are. I think it's 70 something for the weapon art. It's definitely nasty the amount it's able to do, and from Dark Souls 3, that was the best move on whip. Obviously now with crouches and all that stuff, you do have slightly more options. Did you show builds? No, but I can now, because they do save them. It's very pro. Here are the builds, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be interesting.
Osiris J gifted a tier 1 sub to Vike guy, huh? Vike, what's up, man? I see you lurking.
Yo, thank you for the subs again, Osiris. I really do appreciate it. Brother, there's absolutely no need. You've all been far too generous today. And again, let's just make sure that we send love where love is due. Ash. Shout out. The wonderful. The amazing. The guy who loves games. Go, give Luber some love as well if you haven't already. Content creator arc incoming. He's never joining another tournament again. It's all ogre for him. He's down the editing pipeline, guys. It's Jover.
It's Jover for me. I make silly little YouTube videos now.
He does, and if you'd be ever so kind as to put that in my chat, sir, so the people can listen to you go absolutely demon mode on PvEers, I'd love to say. I'm sorry. I love you, brother.
Going demon mode on PvEers is exactly what I live for. No shame in that.
Foolish.
Well, let me plug real quick.
Plugger. Any pluggers real quick?
Any pluggers, guys? It's gotta...
Alright, will one of the mods be ever so kind to shout out our dear friend in a minute? Please stop that, Foolish. You're making yourself quite foolish. Ha 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 ha. And we're just waiting for Lanesaw to get in.
Uber should transition into becoming an innovator that makes clickbait titles. But here's the thing, there's already there's too much competition for that. I feel like that's what most people do. I want to try something that's more in line with my specialty, that being the 1v1s. You see? I have some things in mind for sure.
The plotter in question. Alright. So, as we wait for our contestants to get in, I believe we're just waiting on Lane. Oh, Lanesaw is actually in right now. Let's take a quick peek at the builds while I get my shenanigans sorted. Okay, what are we looking at? Shear versus... what is that weapon? Oh, it's Smith's Script Dagger. And Sword of Knight? Or is that Rack? I'm not used to all the icons yet, folks. I do apologize.
That's Rakshasa.
So that's Smith's Script Dagger, Rakshasa, and then the Lane Soul on the Shamshir.
Interesting, interesting. It is the Rax is somewhat interesting. I'm shocked no one's taken out the Sword of Knight. It's a cute little setup. Especially with the main hand rack. That thing can... Or offhand rack even. I think that thing does some serious work. But ladies and gentlemen, we just adjust the score because now, ladies and gentlemen, we are up to a best of 7.
So for all the kind-hearted people in the chat, I'm sorry if I sound a little bit more French than usual. I'm pretty tired. I don't have the mana left to keep up the NA, my NA disguise. Huh?
The disguise,
My true self is being revealed to the world.
Finally showing his true colors, the white flag. Anyway, moving on. We are going to see both of our players here. And the Irish never gave up. Okay, all right. We do see the great rack coming out there.
It's actually my true colors is actually the Swift slash icon. Don't get it wrong.
We are,
I guess.
we are going to see some crazy damage here coming out here on the side of Foolish, who's putting Lane Saw through a... This is like fighting a Saw from Bloodborne. Absolutely bonkers and Foolish. The trade's going back and forth. Foolish is his tear gone. And the Blink Bolt comes out the other end, but he just about manages to come out the other end. The Stone Club clubbing later by the looks of things is the side
that's
of
interesting.
Lane.
The off Rakshasa for a hyper armor setup for the main hand Cirque.
And actually able to keep
And
insane
that
amounts of
R2,
pressure.
The roll timing seems very awkward. Like you definitely get used to it, but it's just very jarring.
And as
The
well
first
as
time you
that,
fight it.
oh, for sure, it definitely took me a minute to try and figure it out. And the Blink Bolt Punish comes out. Blink and you'll miss it, folks. The TTK in shambles right now. Holy moly! GG's. Very nicely done to Fooish. Another streamer who you should definitely go check out. Spread the love, ladies and gentlemen.
A streamer?
Okay, let's go check it out. I don't think I've ever heard of them actually.
Yeah, I believe he's done some Dark Souls 2 stuff. He'd done some Dark Souls 3. I believe it was the Dark Souls 3 days that I had the pleasure of bumping into Foolish. He's been around a while. Bit of a demon of the olden times. But here we have both of our players in Foolish with the Foolish ambition will be laid to rest. Or... will Foolish actually take it? I didn't know where I was going with that one. I thought this one out, guys. Don't worry. But either way, the Bolt is on its way in the semis in this best of 7. First 2 for the Physics La Drinky and the Sleep Grease.
That's Eternal Sleep Grease is insane.
Why going
Oh,
for...
I see. That's smart. Is to take advantage of the helmet. Is to take advantage of the focus of the helmet here. The lowered focus here, giving Eternal Sleep leeway. Of course, Foolish isn't actually foolish and used the Armor of Solitude to boost his focus back up to mitigate this problem, but that is still a massive nerf to the focus that you really don't want.
Lane is being put through the saw here once again, and it's not looking good. We do see that we actually managed to see the punish there. Goes for the whip. Not quite able to make it. Tries to go for a standing R1, and that's going to be Lane Saw coming out with the next round.
One thing to note is that even though you have this focus nerf, thanks to the Solitude armor, and I don't think I saw a Talisman, but at least the Solitude armor, the Eternal Sleep Grease was simply not able to get a proc despite the amount of hits landed. You saw Poison Swap towards the end.
It was actually curious. I did try out the Trinas the last little while just to see how they are. They're bad, first of all.
I remember seeing that. I mean,
yeah, you just do not get that sleep proc. You might actually get a better sleep proc off of base Trinas, which is just ridiculous to me. But
sleep is...
it's not slept on, it's just bad.
it's kind of meme status right now. Like, you have the sleep pods, which are a good tool in invasions and 2v2s. No matter what, sleep pods are good, but...
I think on an arcane build especially, sleep pods can be a nice way of just getting that bit of counter pressure. But either way, Either way, we are going to see the.
Still sticking to I'm actually surprised.
Uh-oh, he goes for that whip. He's not
Almost
quite able to
still.
do it. Force back in there once again. Goes for a second or one swing. Tries to get that, but the airs
but-
come over the top.
Oh my god, they're just not rolling at all. They're just they've abandoned the the roll button. And look at that, the complete reset on the status build. They're just going. At this point, I would just go lightning grease.
He's spamming, but he manages to get that hit.
Very nice part too.
Oh, not able to get that break though. Lanesaw is still miles ahead, and 100 hit. Never mind.
You
know what?
For it, she's like foolish, really trying to rely on the Rakshasa L1 as like get off me tool, but you see that the damage difference was really showing here.
And keep in mind,
Despite this,
yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But go on.
Actually, yeah. So this is to explain really what happened. This match and why it played out the way it did. It has to go. We have to go back to things I said earlier in some of the previous rounds. Foolish setup here. He has two ways to get people off him. So number one, the fast kind of like poise breaking Ash of War didn't work. Lane was still in. Rakshasa L1 for high primer, the insanely low recovery of fist, Lane could stay in. And then of course the jump, like desperate jump, and you saw the recovery is so fast, Lane could stay in. So Katars is just able to rush down this setup because the problem with the whip, right, is that it has absolutely no way to set you up for damage if you are close, and except with this new Ash of War, which is undoubtedly why all the whip users are actually using this. But you still see that despite this fact, the fact that it's still ultimately not enough of a burst of damage, all too reactable.
Did you just go for a spinning slash halberd?
The Patat, like you can see this, like the off dagger, like there's nothing, like the Patat is able to stay in no matter what. Like this setup is getting. This is the example here of the complete, just a straight up matchup difference here.
Yeah, and the
Patat is
rush
able to
down
just-
is just so enabled by just how much ground that thing is actually able to cover. And the backstab!
And of course, like naturally, you equip the halberd. The halberd is able to stun in one. It's still like a good like main hand offhand. It's a great setup in its own way, but then it has the weakness of the strafes, which Foolish's previous setups didn't have. Like for example, if you're playing Rakshasa Whip, you're not really worried about people strafing you, but Pata became an issue. Now he tries this, strafing becomes an issue. It's just so difficult. I mean, it goes to show that Pata really is a like hard meta addition. There's really no other way to word it. It's one of the best weapons right now.
Again,
it's Qatar without the core flaw of Qatar and with more damage. So yeah, it's pretty good.
I had the pleasure of running a ladder match against Lane there, and I just have to say, like, the amount of pressure that he's able to output on any setup against a bird, because his strafes are on point. There's a number of ladder players who I've played over the last months and years who you press an R1, they're already there. You just cannot lock on. You have to play locked off, and you have to make sure that you guess correctly based on their prior behaviors, whether or not they go for the strafe to the left or the strafe to the right. It throws me for a loop. It very much does. It's on a dime.
If you have the tools to deal with it, you actually don't even need to free him anything because
Little fun fact: do you know that Shield Poke actually never free aims his halberd?
What?
Yes, Shield Poke because Shield Poke mostly plays with the offhand though. He's like a DS3 brained individual. But...
Oh my god, the Blink Bolt comes out, but this is the problem with this Cirque. The Cirque here, this setup that Foolish is going for here is really curious. But oh my god,
that might just have sealed the deal right there.
Oh no, into that R2 to try and get that bit of damage. But you see that he's trying to go for that Blink Bolt to try and get another little bit of chip and go for those R2s. But unfortunately, Lane just is right in on top.
What's going to happen? What's going to cost him here? I can tell is the stamina consumption. You can see he's walking. He's out of stamina. I see the swap here. Way too costing the stamina.
Yeah, that Blink Bolt is doing a really, really decent job there, but he's just not able to keep up that damage. The jump attacks come through there. It's not enough. He's trying to get the sillies, the 360.
Wait. There is a hope here. Honestly, the tier breaking, pretty good.
Oh no, but the mash.
But the damage difference, the stamina consumption, I think it's going to end up costing him regardless.
And it did cost him there. GG's. His foolish ambition laid to rest. Lane saw.
Luber's
Moves on.
speech is gradually folding. What does that mean? What's happening to my voice? But yeah, honestly, good plays here. Almost a bit of a comeback, but
Frenchifying.
it's Frenchifying. Oh my god, it's yeah, that's what I feared. It's really over. Dude, I woke up. I had to wake up at 8 a.m. for like fucking paperwork. I'm so tired, dude. I don't have. I'm not kidding. I don't have the energy to like pretend to keep the NA mimic veil on right now. It's so fucked up.
Foolish, you are still in. You are in the losers finals, my friend, which is another best of 7. And we are, of course, moving on to the last round of the last before finals of losers round 3, which is going to be Heavenly versus Darcy. These two have fought before. We'll have to see if Darcy's able to lock in, or if the heavens above have blessed Heaven. It Lube, dear God. Choice words there, Lobarino. Dubarino. Choice words, my friend.
Yes, indeed.
I just want to give I usually do this at the end, but I'm going to do this. Luber's actually being utterly invaluable here right now. His game knowledge is stellar. He speaks from a position of authority. If you don't know who Luber is, Luber's a multiple tourney winner on, I believe, just on PlayStation. Have you entered a tourney on PC? And Nissan, probably at some point before the month is out. Probably before the month is out, I'll do a PlayStation tourney. I just have to check my calendar. But yeah, Luber's phenomenal. If you haven't checked him out or any of his stuff, his game knowledge is exceptional. The dude is, how do I describe you? A creature from another world. a demon, and a funny motherfucker to boot.
That's
even if he
title.
is French, as we find out. It's just slightly ruined my opinion. You hate to see it. But we'll just get my overlays and all of that shenanigans set up as we are getting Heavenly 1 in. And there we go. Heaven. There we go. Control S. Cool beans. Darcy versus Heaven. Can you show Darcy's? Yeah, I'll show Darcy's build now in just a moment as we have all of our players in. Let's take a peek. Oh, never mind. We're going to press our controller and that's going to do shenanigans. There we go. There is the build's 54 strength, 36 end versus the 37 end, 55 dex. Dex versus strength. Both of these players haven't swapped off them yet, Luber. If it's not broken, don't break it, I reckon. And I'm very excited to see how this next round is going to go. Let's just get this show on the road. Losers round 3. It is going to be a best of 3. And I need to turn off the shenanigans. There we go. There is no more shenanigans. All right. Losers round 3. Best of 3. Heaven and Blue. Darcy in the red. Canada versus USA. Grudge match. Real. Maple syrup enjoyers versus gun enjoyers. Force back in now once again. We are going to see what seems to be
but in the end, it's still Pata mirrors.
It's Pata mirrors all the way down. I'll probably bring them back in tune with the other setups, even though we haven't seen much poison. But I'm of the firm belief that strong setup should be strong just because they win faster. Doesn't mean they win slower, doesn't make them any less good. And we are got just the insane amount of aggression. Here's the flaming strike through the fire and flames comes Darcy. Forced back in now once again. We are going to see it. In Pata Mirrors, what is the win con here? What are the players really looking for, Luber?
Well, same thing as always, really, especially in the mirror match. You want space tighter than the opponent, react better. Show yourself standing your ground better so you can get the opponent close to a wall and you can set them up for, well, probably Flaming Strike, but in the case of this weapon, most likely the running R2 combo if they have little space, but...
Oof. Nice back.
I'm noticing a lot of usage of the R2s. I actually never really used the R2s on Qatar, but I feel like on Pata, I would definitely have to learn to use it.
Yeah, I mean, you're leveraging that range, right? You get your counter hits, you get a decent amount of poison damage as well. You can force that pressure. Go for the follow-up R2 there, but it didn't quite land, unfortunately, there. Darcy's goes, oh my god, it's Lifesteal Fist. Please land at Darcy's. Please. Please. Force back in. The Flaming Strike lands, though, unfortunately. Force back in there once again. We are going to see the R2s come out there. Darcy's has them up against the wall, but I do not believe they have the Flaming Strike, so no leveraging off that little bit of, I guess, corner pressure, wall pressure there. No wall bounce coming out here. Force back in now once again. Good rolls coming out here from Darcy. R2 comes out there and get the roll catch. The Lifesteal Fist into Mash, but they run R2.
Unfortunate, the running R2 lands.
Yeah, into the true combo
I
there
think
as
they're
well.
both trying to like figure out their best options in this matchup here, like, and also where to place the R2s as means of trading.
Oh, actually managing
he's
to
not
go
really
for
whiff
that.
punishing this.
Good roll out there on against that rolling attack.
Yeah, that was
out.
honestly quite a good read. Impressive.
Frosted into the Flaming
That's
Strike!
gonna be it. That's gonna be it. That was over.
Would you say, Luber, that was a song of ice and fire, my friend? I'm sorry, I couldn't. Please.
I will say that just for this joke, I'm gonna make a new video. Street Slash is too weak. I'll submit it to Bandai and be like, there you go. We need the patch 1.0 Great Sword multiplier on the Street Slash, please. Thank you.
The Frostbot was buried.
But only against Enda, though. Only
No, please! Have you no mercy? Lobero Bobero. Why are you so cold? Cold-hearted, evil, grr. Can't believe it. Chad, how do we deal with this? What? How do we deal with this, folks? I invite a guest in here and this is how they treat me? But either way, we have both of our contestants in. Lubero, it's about time. You are up, sir. You are up.
Okay. En garde, prêt. Allez.
Oh, you went American to that one. That's cheating. That's not fair. That's not fair. As we see Darcy's eat an awful lot more damage there. Oof, these patas are just
R2s are
insane.
scary, honestly. Like, I'm almost alerting myself, like, that these R2s are insane to use. Yeah, absolutely very usable on this this matchup.
We're seeing that corner again. We're getting nice bits of corner pressure here from Darcy's, but I think they're committing to the bit a little bit too hard here. Does not want to get knocked out here. They've come so far. They've improved so much since the beginning of the trades. The more trades. Ouch.
That was a clean interruption, unfortunately. Seems like Darcy's going to be taking this interaction, but it's so hard to really highlight a win condition on this match. It's going to be more just who messes up first, really. That's really
Well,
what it
that's
is.
all mirrors, really, isn't it? Pretty much, like you're looking at those opportunities to try and get that nice bit of damage space out.
That's true,
good
but
walk in there, and
This
just
weapon feels too chaotic at every stage and every portion of the arena that it's gonna be pretty hard to get it to really set up something really nice. It's just Qatar's Unleashed.
Qatar's Unleashed. I think that's the video title showing anyway. As we the walk in on the Flaming Strike. Oh no! Force back
really
in.
bad
Now.
for Darcy. Yeah, honestly, like a swap here makes sense. Like, even if you don't think this is the best option for this matchup, picking something like going off of the mirror if you start losing it's really an option to consider.
Oh, and those R2s into the interrupt there and the bit of back.
Look at that! You're able to bring it back. Lost her tier, but Halax all of a sudden.
Oh, into the butt scratch tech, unbeatable tech, too strong.
Unbeatable
Please
tech,
nerf.
never defeated.
Force back in now once again, goes for the all axe just to try and get a little bit of pressure. Playing off, you mentioned poker, playing off the offhand an awful lot. Tries to go for the standing R1 to get that catch. Heaven though goes for the run attack from Kilo,
Just barely outspaces.
Pixels, my friend, by a hair's breadth there, just not able to land that one. Goes for the Hall Axe there again. Good means of initiating. Probably trying to set up for either the Flaming Strike or alternatively try to get that standing or one on the Hall Axe there just to get that pressure. The Flaming Strike comes through.
Ooh, that was almost perfect.
Oh, manages to get it, but doesn't get the follow up.
That's still a lot of damage. They're basically evened up in terms of health right now.
They've evened it, and they could have taken the lead there. It had the rest of that Flaming Strike gone through. Force back in now once again.
The play. Like, reintroduce a range advantage for yourself there thanks to the halberd. I think is definitely the correct move here. But Pata is still a force to be reckoned with. And unfortunate, like, the greed here on the swing after missing. That is going to be absolutely dangerous.
Yeah,
Darcy.
Darcy's going to have to play a stellar one here if she wants to be able to pull through on this one. She's doing a very good job of playing that patient, playing off the offhand, and tries to go for the punish.
But unfortunately, bestie.
And the prayers.
This is going to be it right there.
Saying, a couple of Hail Marys for your crimes, sir. That's your penance for today. But yeah, very good showing from both. G's to both. And, you know, Darcy's, I have skewed the bracket so heavily towards Pata's. Trying to curious as to how it stacks up against our current restrictions on the other setups. I'll have to cook something to try and bring these more in line by the looks of things. Whew, what a match, though. Like, there was a very, very solid chance there that Darcy was going to be able to bring that one back. Very, very solid chance, Luber. But take just a quick peek at the builds here before we get our next set of contestants in. We are going to take a very quick break before the bronze match. Again, Dex versus Strength, very solid. But Bobero, I hope you've been having a good time with us so far. What are your standouts? We're pretty much at the end now so far, but what are your standouts of the tournament thus far, good sir?
Well, the matches with Foolish and Cuyasso were always pretty interesting. I think I still really like for me, like, kind of putting myself in the shoes of the spectators, like the LGS matches. I think like a lot of people kind of are confused about LGS and are not sure where to place, and I feel like the matches, Cyrus's matches with LGS were able to really show the strengths and weaknesses of the setup, like how far it can get and why it ends up not really
No, it's
getting played.
Very good stuff. Very good stuff. Well, we're going to take just a very quick break, ladies and gents. Thank you again to Luber, and thank you to all of our contestants who didn't quite make it this far. You all have been absolutely wonderful. You've put on one hell of a show to us, and I can't wait to see you in future events. But we will chat you all in but a moment. Toodle pips.
Let's go.
And there we have it, folks. Look at these absolute legends here in the middle of the arena. Meditating, for only one of them will walk out in this bronze match, folks. Let's get this show on the road. There we go. There's a fire and flames. Let's crack the fuck on. We've both of our contestants in. Luber, are you ready for what could be one hell of a match here ahead of us?
I'm cooking immensely, and I'm ready.
All right, let's get this show on the road and hope that I selected the right heavenly one in the tourney manager. Right, well, we may have a bit of a panic. We are going to see the physics here from both of our players. The bestial roar comes out. Great cat mirror. We're seeing an awful lot of mirrors today. Are mirrors on the mind? What's going on here?
I think the great katana is a
beloved weapon already.
Oof.
So I think that's what's happening.
And given that exchange that we just saw there, I'm not surprised as to why, Luber. Look at the amount of damage that they're able to get off. My God.
I myself am a huge fan of the Great Cat as well. It's probably the most my favorite DLC weapon to use. I think most people feel the same way.
All right, force back in now once again. That good, nice roll out there on the side of heaven, keeping up that nice bit of pressure. Tries to go for that, manages to actually land that. We are going to say Foolish.
Ooh, lots of hits coming out. Appears that Foolish was in his venue trying to swap to something. Got hit in the process.
Here we see the talons are
classic.
out. The talons are
the menu
out.
swaps are coming out.
That free-aimed flaming strike was tragic.
Yeah, got him hit.
Force back in. Now we are seeing both players kind of chilling here. Looking for that, trying to see that Blink Bolt actually do that damage, but it doesn't matter as he's going to be clipped in the edge of it. He tries to go for the art. I think what happened there is he tried to go for the R2, but the actual window for actually getting that off is actually pretty not good. Very, very unpro. It's the standing R1s you really want that you get off of those out of that Blink Bolt. And no, to the people asking in chat, it is 120 poise is currently the poise limit in this tournament. That is what we're aiming for today, just to try and test it out. I know an awful lot of people are enthusiastic about higher level poises, and probably the lowest you'll see my tourneys go is about 115. So either way, Luber, are you ready for the next round?
Absolutely.
Hells to the yes. Let's get this show on the road. Both players here cracking on. We are going to see very quickly getting that grease off. Both players are going to drink their physics and scythe into Great Cat. Interesting choices here on the side of Foolish. He's going to take a little bit of damage right off the bat. And those Smith script daggers have been used quite a lot in this tourney. Almost getting the strafe there, but a good turnaround there comes out. Foolish actually managing to land that standing R1 into the Black Flame Tornado and actually
Black
manages to
Flame
connect
Tornado
the
in 2024. Holy shit!
But unfortunately, the stamina cost here, getting them hit twice by the Rakshasa running R1, not what you want. But oh my god!
Foolish is just dressed to impress today, Luber, with all of these fancy.
Absolutely, but I must say there appears to be a slight problem at the level of the HUD here, the overlay on stream, the damage.
I just realized that. Let me get that sorted out, and there we go. There we go. We fixed it.
Okay, beautiful. Now we can see. Okay. Now, perfectly even match here. No physics on the table. Heaven a little bit low. Evens it out instantly with another hit. Super aggressive play from Foolish. Doesn't quite work out.
Yeah, the standing R1s here are definitely coming in. I know you can stagger those R1s, so you can step cancel them to try and go for that nice little bit of a roll catch. And you also have the constant threat of a rolling attack, but eating a HTS run attack is probably
HTS
not.
Doing some absolutely nasty work here so far this tournament, and the whiff comes out, and unfortunately that's going to be it. Foolish meta has fallen.
How many Unfork besties out of 10 would you give that?
This is at least 8 Unforge besties.
That is total
For
Unfork
sure.
bestie. Real Unfork bestie.
Unforge bestie.
No, the HTS swap there is really nice, especially given that Foolish is going for that many swaps. The realization here on the side of Heaven that, okay, this dude is actually going for that bit of pressure. He's alleviating the pressure here every single time. I now realize I can rush in and get that damage in that I need to do. But either way, we digress. Lobero, Bobero. Match 2 in the best of 7.
So, yo, Montage, welcome.
Another
Look at this
casting
guy.
pro. Another casting
That's
pro.
my boy Monty. Welcome, man.
All right, we are going to see the Cirques come out here, managing to get
Here
that
we
nice bit of
go.
pressure. That's really what I think Foolish should have taken out right off the bat, to be honest.
Right
with
out
you.
of the way, yes. Like, just really taking advantage of the massive damage from the Cirques, but unfortunately, he's just the unfortunate options here.
no.
Failed pulls, a poorly timed jump, and a bunch of hits here, absolutely giving Heaven a massive health lead. It's going to be very hard to come back from this.
The pots come out! Oh my god, the skull
And the
emojis are
skull
going!
emojis. The skull emojis. Absolutely horrifying. Ow, that's going to be a tear break here. Okay, and you see, this is what I mean. This is a weakness of, a genuine weakness of the BHBs. Every BHB, despite their fantastic moveset, you'll actually see right here, the jump R2 doesn't seem to get that poise break, doesn't seem to get that hit as early as it needs to on the way down, and you see like Foolish lost a lot of health trying to set up some sort of like defensive play with a delayed jump, and it simply didn't quite work here. Ended up with another unwanted trade. Right now, Foolish is effectively one hit away from death against the hungry Rakshasa player here that has their physic still up, and unfortunately the Thunderbolt is going to take Foolish meta out.
3-0 on the scorecard right now. Thunderbolt of Lightning, Luber, very, very frightening me, and it's definitely frightening the heavens above as we speak. Very, very nice play here from the side of Heaven, who's just utilizing that hyper armor, utilizing that moveset for all it's worth. I will say Foolish managed to get him a couple of times with those jumps. I don't know what it is about great katanas, at least for me, that feels like those jumps feel super safe into it. True, you have to be careful of that standing R1, but if they try and go for a quick poke out of it, they are in for a world of hurt, and you can just hit them like a freight train with those jump
What was
attacks.
happening is that the Rakshasa player was being not loose at all with their pressure. They were actually trying to be as airtight as possible, like really just straight up chaining, running R1s, not really adding in any other options. Which has value, right? To basically spam the same move has value, and imagine it's to condition the opponent to not go for anything that would.
Nice Thunderbolt there, though. That's actually really, really nice. Putting Foolish, getting a little bit of damage on the board here, but my god, he's been put through the pain train here. This could be it for
Great
Foolish.
Really good buff here with the lightning slash to get Shamshir even more damage, but unfortunately the health lead here in Heaven's favor is just absolutely giving him the edge.
And it's weird as well that he's electing to go for those lightning bolts. All the greases are still allowed on your Shamshir and all that shenanigans. So unless he doesn't have it on his bar because he is going for the... Oh my god, beautiful spacing there on Foolish's part. He does have the option. Oh my god, the tracking memento. Oh dear. As Heaven takes a considerable amount of damage there. Forced back though, as we are going to see that attempted pressure. Goes for that early hit.
A bit of an
Managing
early
to
hit,
land it.
unfortunately.
Foolish is
just
in door.
one hit away from death
Again, but unfortunately stuck in their menus, the Thunderbolt comes out.
And that is going to be Heaven. Moving on into second place, preemptively taking him out of the player pool for future tournaments. But he's one shot at first place here, Luber. He has one shot at first place here. But I understand. Lobero Bobero.
I know, we have to announce that unfortunately, due to pressing IRL priorities, I must end my time commentating here short. It's been 3 really fun hours, but unfortunately, I must go. Sorry, Monty, you just got there. I was hoping to show off more of my commentating skills to you, but I do have to head out. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all for watching. And congrats, of course, to every single competitor with a great showing.
Before you go, Lubero, is there anything else you have to say to our audience?
Just one more thing. Sorry to everyone I disappointed.
It's okay. A moment of silence, please, for Lobero Bobero. Absolute pleasure having him in here, but we do have a backup caster here for our last match.
Hello.
Suusuri, my dear, how have you been enjoying this tournament so far? Or what you've caught of it so far? You haven't been watching it, have you?
This match.
All right, well, I'll give you the rundown. BHB Circs are kind of evil. We've kind of established that. They hit like a truck and they can hit from kilo. So that's fun. That was a fun thing to learn. Who knew that borderline unrestricted patas would be really strong in this rule set as well? That's also really fun. I know, certainly not me. This wasn't an entire ploy to have footage for the War Crimes Tribunal. But Sue,
FBI plan.
How have you been enjoying the DLC so far as we get this last match set up between Lane Saw and Heavenly? Have you been enjoying the DLC, or are you a patch 1.123 kisser? I don't even know what we're at anymore.
Well, all right. Well, not PvE is it's pretty cool, the DLC. I think the lore implications and all that's really, really neat. The PvE isn't bad. I don't really care for most of the bosses. They're not too memorable, but when it comes to except Midra. Oh fuck Midra. When it comes to PvP though, it's dog shit.
Well, I'm glad, you're very upfront about your opinions, and you know what? Listen, that's very important. What is, in your opinion, then, what is the most questionable thing that's happened, then, over the course of this this very short time we've had? Uh-oh.
Everything.
Everything?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything that FromSoft has added is questionable.
That's putting it very politely. I think BHBs were a great idea, adding nuclear tier damage to a crouch attack that's faster than a dagger. That's pretty... What's the technical term? Pogger?
No, it's great. It's so poggies. It's so PogChamp.
Well, Sue, it does seem as though we're getting our contestants in for our finals match. Lanesaw, of course, has run through the bracket fairly confidently. I don't know if they've actually dropped a round so far. No, they did. They lost. They dropped a round to Foolish in the semi-finals, but they've been pretty dominant so far. Heavenly, of course, has come all the way, I believe, all the way from losers bracket round 1. Yeah, they've crawled all the way through losers and are now meeting Lane. They've merged lanes here at the finals. to fight Lane. So both of our contestants are ready. Let's just take a very quick peek at the... Oh, I need to do a thing for you. I just realized.
Was that a pun? Chainsaw, Lane.
Please clap. There you go. You just let me know you can see everything.
Yeah, I can see.
Puckers. All right. Well, let's just take a quick peek at the builds. There are 55 decks here on the side of Heaven who's sticking to their guns on this particular build versus Strength, which seems to be everything is a physical build so far this tourney, pretty much, with a couple of exceptions. Are physical builds really just that much stronger than everything else?
I think Strength builds are still top tier.
Yeah, but they don't get extra damage on the on certain things like patas and stuff, which is kind of interesting. But either way, Suwusuri, would you do me the honors of counting me in, bestie?
3, 2, 1.
Kaboom. And away we go. The bolt is out. Oh, that is expert camera work here, as we are going to see the physics here. And joking by this, it is going to be Great Cat into Shamshir, something we've seen quite a lot so far. How do you find the Great Cat moveset? Is it able to deal with these top setups, or do you find it lacking, or have you even had an opportunity to try and play with it yet?
I did mess around with the Great Cat. I will say I already don't agree with using the normal Great Cat because it doesn't come with hyper. I think that's the normal one.
Yeah, it would be the normal one without hyper, true.
But I do believe that if people learn the crouch mix-ups and stuff like that, it could actually be pretty powerful because the reach is really, really long on it. And
we're seeing that there's a lane, but lane is just not getting touched here by this. Just the amount of recovery that they have on that Shamshir is just so low. And those jumps, the inability for it to anti-air there is really hurting. And we've seen in that just exchange there. Very, very nice stuff as we do see Heaven pushed into a corner here against the Sheer, but we are going to see the standing R1s come out here and just keep that pressure, not let that hyper armor come up. And we do see the Bolus here on the side of Lane as well, who has been hit as we see the swap over to Patas. Both setups are considered very, very strong, as we are going to see that R2 come out and actually get that interrupt. Nice. Ooh. Standing R1 comes out there. The R2s come through here. Force back in now once again. We are going to see just those R2s. And the Flaming Strike comes through, but the mash with punish restored. As we see in yet another poison bolus come out there. Good bolus pressure here, but just not enough to be able to get enough damage and prevent it. R2s come out there, not quite able to make it. Force back into center. Running attacks coming through there. Are we going to see it? We see the run R2, the R2s come through. The Flaming Strike comes through, keeping up that pressure. Force back into center. Now we're going to see the standing R1s being able to do the nice bit of damage. Force back in now once again. The R2s doing an exceptional job of just keeping Heaven on his toes, but he's knocking on Heaven's door as we speak. He may be put into that loading screen, and that loading screen just got a hell of a lot closer. You see the rollout there from the Flaming Strike. Lane still has his tier, and he got harpoon into the span of the masher. Oh no! Force back in now once again. Another harpoon. We're out here wailing. Force back in, and the standing R1 then to put it away. GG's.
Aye, Egon. Curse you, failed.
Okay, this is something terrible, Suwu, that I have to admit to you. I have had the voiceovers muted since halfway through my first playthrough, and I've never looked back since. I have no idea what any of those NPCs sound like.
But Egon's the only NPC that matters.
Why, Why is that, Suwu?
Because his voice actor went nutty on it. Like,
all right.
Language, but he went insane for it. It was really good.
But you know what else is going insane? Our players here. How did you feel that they did in that last match, considering how it went?
I feel like they did really, really well. I definitely get the pain of the Shamshir recovery and the jumping attacks on it, because the Great Katana kind of struggles to anti-air. It's really weird, tight hitbox that you have to angle to anti-air, but it's really, really hard to deal with, especially with Shamshir due to the recovery on it.
Yeah, we'll have to see if there's some adaptations ensue if you want to take this one.
I will try my best.
Hell yeah, sister. As we are going to see the bolt out in 3, 2, 1. Allez.
Both physic up. Starting on, what is that? Patas and Shamshir? Okay. Insults on the Shamshir, Heavens on Patas.
That is correct and right. Oof. Good roll out there on the side of Heaven. Just about not able to get that damage. Oof.
Both playing passive in a way.
Yeah, very, very slow plays here from the side of both of them here as we are going to see Heaven pushed into that corner.
Yeah, they're really, really high recovery setups, so you pretty much are forced to play passivity.
Yeah, especially given that they have such quick startup and so much is free. Any whiff here could definitely... oh my god!
Oh, that
Ashavor! That one! The Frost Stomp, but cool. Actually, almost
jump that.
Did he actually take any damage from that, or was that literally just... did he actually air that completely?
No, he jumped it.
That's
Jumped
crazy.
it completely.
So it isn't much of an upgrade then, by the looks of things. Oh, forced into the corner here. We are going to see it. Lane actually managing to just take an awful lot of damage. There's the Flaming Strike, but good roll through here on the side of Heaven. Oh.
Both are pretty even right now in health. This is,
Used to the caster's
Oh,
curse.
Shamshir pressure. Oh my.
But the pressure that these
Mine's
patas
awesome.
can output as well is going to be pretty insane. Oh my god. Oh, that R2!
I think the downside to Patas is once you get the poise reset, I don't think it breaks as well as Shamshir does.
Yeah, you're known to have
do.
the same mash options as well, especially given the Shamshir. You get in, you get that backswing, and then against most setups, you just run, but Heaven.
Oh, nice. Oh my god.
And
Lane still takes the win.
Lane takes yet another double, yeah. Damn input drop! Oof. That's some drywall that just got dropped there by the sounds of things after that one. Owie. No, the patas here are very, very cool. Just the amount of damage that they're able to output, the amount of pressure that they're able to output as well. They're just able to rush down pretty much everything, but Huh?
The Grey Club?
The club? He busting it down in the club today against the patas. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
I guess he's probably gonna try to go for the hyper early hit crouch thing, right?
Yes, you can get the turnaround. So the way that particular setup works, Suwu, and for everyone else in the audience, that basically is if you angle it correctly, you get an 8-frame attack. Now the negative is that it owes Miyazaki frames with how short the bloody thing is, but it is very fast and can catch an awful lot of people off guard. But my god, that frostbot right off the bat.
The frostbot.
But we did see the ballast there almost immediately as well, so it's not going to count for much, but the standing R1s coming through is just a unga bunga style, which is a technical term, I'll have you know, coming through there and actually getting some decent damage.
Hit Twink with rock, I see.
I'll quote you on that one, as we're all about those technical terms. Forced back in now once again. Goes for the running attack there, definitely a very risky move, but have you had the pleasure of playing into the Great Club setup all that often, or is it kind of a relative unknown to you?
I've played into it, yeah. It is really hard to deal with the 8-frame attack, especially at least for me. I was fighting someone who was running an arc build on it, so it's just free bleed build up
every single
much
time,
instant.
yeah. And look at it there. We've seen that crouch attack come out there just to absolutely insane damage, but mashed in on as well. Oh, and the the lions!
Savage Lion Claw, yo!
Oh my god, so much work there, but not actually managing to land a hit. But the risk, as we see both sides moving on to Pata. Lane perhaps realizing that sandbagging wasn't perhaps the best play, as we see the swap over to arguably one of the strongest setups in the moveset in that mash. Is this Bloodborne that we're watching? Run R1 into mash all of the time forever? I'm confused. And the Savage Lion Claw nearly lands!
Oh my
So close! And the poison comes out then, the ballast for free.
Like the bull is.
Like, again, against these patas, no one should be getting that poison ballast off here. Heaven is actually doing a great job, but the jump attack comes through with that low recovery.
Jump.
But the low recovery! These R2s coming up just to try and get those little bit of clips. These R2s are very, very interesting, especially leveraging the range. I know Luber mentioned it earlier. Do you have any kind of thoughts? Is it risky? Is it strafable? Like, what are the risks really associated with going for that R2? Outside of it being so long.
God.
But we do see an even out here. Slowly but surely as Heaven takes a stock. Whew. What a round, Sue.
I would assume with the Patas, I mean, I'm not too sure how the hitbox works or anything like that, but I would assume because of the running attack, I would guess the hitbox kind of starts a little wide. So I would assume that the strafing would be kind of rough. Maybe you would get half it from it or something. But either way, with the poison bundle, it would proc no matter what. So it's
yeah, I want to just
you have to weigh your options.
Yeah, I just want to hand it though to Heaven. They're actually managing to get those boluses off. That was against Patas, the amount of risk that you have to take in order to do that, because it can cover so much ground. Again, thank you FromSoft for removing spears and then adding them and calling them something else to keep us confused. But either way, next round is on the way. Are we going to see some setup changes? Are we going to see some shenanigans? The scythe is out. Huh? Into Patas?
Oh, the Great Scythe. Okay.
Interesting choice there as well, going for that extra damage as opposed to the range. I've tried Grave Scythe a few times, but it's so short compared to the other one, and I don't think the extra damage is really worth it when you really need to leverage that range. But we're seeing Lane do an exceptional job of just going to town here, the mix game. And the harpoon, there she blows, but no hit, unfortunately. Forced back in now, once again, the crouches come through. Good spacing here on the side of Lane, but is going to manage to get that punish. Trying to go for these inescapables, I reckon, or at least threatening that backstab grab is the side of Lane, and those run attacks come through. But Heaven is not going to be able to get the rest of that flame strike out. Not going for the roll out there is Lane, and just staying in, going, no, I'm here. Risky maneuvers, Sue.
It was very risky, indeed. I'm really enjoying the Great Sight though, because I think it's a very good keep out actually against Patas. I know the Patas has the range, but with the stagger that the Great Sight gets and the roll catch, it's really it's a good keep out.
And honest to goodness, you don't really have to worry quite as much against the airs on Patas, unless the because of how long those goddamn things are, that the hitbox hits through super early. Those standing R1s are more than enough reason to keep the Pata user from that. But beautiful spacing here, Lane doing a great job trying to force in that pressure. Standing R1 then is a punish.
Oh my God.
Just in the corner and the back. Here we go. The inescapable comes out. Into the finish. Lane.
What a fucking match.
What a round indeed. Like, Scythe is one of those things. I haven't had the pleasure of playing it all that much. The standing R1s being that little bit faster and having slightly better tracking means you can get those dead angles just that little bit cleaner. But we've seen there, it's like, those crouch attacks are still such... They're the bread and butter of that setup, pretty much, I reckon. I very much would be a firm believer in that. But one of the things that's kind of taking me aback all the way through this turning, the amount of counter picks that we're actually seeing. People do a hell of a lot of swapping. Not just the swappa brain from DS3 that Foolish was going for, but just kind of very calculated. This didn't work. Screw that. I'm heading out here to try and to get a better matchup here. And we're seeing yet another counter pick, and it's just for everyone once again. Here are the builds: 55 dex versus 56 strength. Going for that strength bonus as well. On top of that is Lane Soul with the two-handed shear. This could go either way, Sue. Let's see how this next one pans out.
Alright.
Alright, and a 3, and a 2, and a 1. Boom! Glug, glug, glug.
Switch scenes.
Oh, that would probably help here. Ripperoni and Pepperoni. I'm a professional, by the way. As we are going to see both of our players here trading harpoons. It did not actually... I didn't. It must have hit. It actually did. He got a harpoon to the face. Oh, no! Oh, no. As the jumping R1s come out here, and it does seem as though it's the LGS into Shamshir, as we are going to see Heaven just taking an awful lot of damage, trying to go for those R2s to be able to try to force back anything here. Force back in. We are going to see the sword dance, though. Into the Blink Bolt. Shamshir standing R1. That is... We've seen Foolish mess around with Blink Bolt a little bit earlier on, but that is really what it's for. It's for very fast running. Get in there, get the recovery on the standing R1. Otherwise, it's just that little bit too slow, as we do see the LGS trying to get a little bit of chip damage here. Force back in that pressure. We're going to see Heaven put into the corner.
The corner.
Oh no, the back swang coming through and getting insane damage. But Lane is not out of it yet, as the sword dance is going left and right, and that is an option that, of course, Lane does have, and it has to be something that has to always be in the mind of Lane. So, I mean, look at that there. Another blink bolt goes through, and the R2 not able to land, and the sword dance comes through, getting some serious damage into another R2, and there, the Godskin Swaddling proc, getting that little bit of extra HP. Every single bit of it is going to matter here. Force back in there once again. We are going to see just getting that extra little bit of damage there. Force back in there once again. The R2's taking insane damage. Lanesaw's been chipped down. Is he out of it, Sue? Is this winnable? Oh my god, it might be!
I still think Lane still has this, especially with the club now, because the club swap.
Yeah. Oh, back onto Shamshir though for Heavenly. He does not want to be knocked out quite so soon.
Yeah, I forget what the other weapon was, but the poise break on that
LGS,
the poise damage that rapier does, it's really weak.
So
the Shamshir swap was nice.
Yeah, definitely as well. An awful lot of he got
died with the harpoon. Oh my god.
Moby Dick out here. Holy shit. The harpoon. Oh my lord. GG's 4-1. But Suu, what are your thoughts on that last match?
I'm honestly really happy to see players like this swapping their setups mid-match, because I feel like there's a lot of what's the word? Controversy within the community. At least in like the more casual community about swapping and hard swapping like that. So it's really nice to see people being able to read what their opponent is, how they're playing, and the weapon they're using, and be able to make adjustments on the fly like that.
Yeah, no, it was a really nice showing there as well. And the harpoon finisher, what an absolute treat. What an absolute treat for all of us. We are going to see some more changes here on the side of Heaven, who does not want to be, he does not want to go. He's not going to go out with a whimper. He'll go out with a roar. As he is very much, this is match point. This could be it, ladies and gentlemen. Huge advantage to Lanesaw. Heaven just needs to mess up once more, and Lanesaw takes the W, but out goes the bolt. The physics are drunk. The wall has been clipped through. We are looking forward to one hell of a match here. Grey Cat into Halberd, and it does seem as though it's the Rakshasha. I almost called it a Rikuyo. Oh dear, wrong game. As we are going to see just that off dive there, trying to get that little bit of chip. Halberd has always struggled into hyper armor. How do you... Oh, it's off stock. How do you feel that, you know, Lane is going to be able to manage into this hyper armor? Is it just going to be a case of don't care, going to outplay and whiff punish you to death with that off stock?
Well, I think it's going to be the whiff punishing, because it looks like...
Oh my god!
Into the Savage Claw. Both Savage Claws hit. Oh my.
Definitely dressed too impressed.
I think that's the normal Grey Katana again, so I don't think he has to worry about the hyper.
I'm not so certain about that. I'm not, actually, you might be onto something. I'm seeing a slight shade of red there, but yeah, we are going to see the jump R2. It may very well be the Rakshasha. Man, that is a hard word to say. Force back now once again. Good timing. We're seeing some mix-ups here going for the fast pokes and the crouch R1s. Definitely an interesting choice here. And that is really what you want to do. No, it is Rakshasha. See that Halberd there? That is it 100% as we see the force back.
Oh.
He actually landed it!
Oh, wait, that early hit on the flip. That hitbox on the flip, that's what killed him.
There ain't no way, no how. What a match. Lane takes the W. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the face of our winner today. Lanesaw doing an absolutely exceptional job running through the bracket. Suwu, do you have any thoughts on the sliders? Okay, Suwu, this is really very much in your ballpark. Rate the Battle Dolly right now.
Well, Lane Saw, could you spawn in the host mirror?
And I
that
might
real
actually
quick.
be able to turn it off here on my end, actually.
Oh, could you do it? Okay.
I'll see. Okay. We'll see if this works. No, never mind. It's not going to work because it's not appearing on their side. It's only on my end that shows up, so they'd have to leave. But that's fine. And...
She has a huge stick.
Massive.
From what I can see, the sliders do look really cute. I will say the eyes look a little wide apart, kind of like what's her name? The snake woman. Kind of looks like her a little bit.
Maybe just a
But
smidge.
otherwise, no, they're really cute sliders. I would give this like a 7 out of 10.
The face of a champion. Oh, we are going to see. Not content to get out of it as we see. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Suwu, you were only here for one round.
It was.
How did you feel about the setups that we saw, the quality of the plays before we crack on?
Well, I really enjoyed the how people are straying away from. Well, I mean, other than like Shamshir, but I'm happy to see people messing around with some of the DLC stuff as much as I hate it. But it's really, really, really nice fights. I'm excited to see how people improve within this next year or so.
Yeah, and we've been seeing that improvement. I recall one of the first people to join, Pablo, went on to actually win one of the last beginners brackets, putting on an absolutely exceptional performance. And looking at the amount of progress that they'd made over the course of like a few weeks, it's absolutely phenomenal to see that progress in such a short amount of time. And we're seeing it. Darcy's is doing very well. A2, a complete newcomer to PvP, decided that, you know what, feck it, let's enter and do that. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to join these tourneys, here's how you do it. You enter the Discord, you go into the initiate role request, and then you go, I'm a noob, please let me join in. And there we go.
I'm a noob and let me join.
You know, I don't disagree with you, for starters, but
Wow.
no, for real though. Ladies and gentlemen, Sue, do you have any final words before
Yes,
we crack on?
I have two things.
Uh-oh.
Number one, I want to read what Foolish said because I want to believe it. Someone was fisted. I heard it. The soft and wet noise of the flesh on flesh contact. The plap 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 of slaps and asses. And then my second final word is, well, congrats, Lane Saw, and to be leaving with your legs shaking. And I hope you can hear.
All right,
See you,
thank
Enda.
you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having me.
Suwu, for joining in. An absolute pleasure. Suwu, ladies and gentlemen, absolute legend in the community, who totally isn't another account pretending to be someone else. That would be crazy. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to raid out. And thank you all so much. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.